Hi, I'm Karen Perez, Chair of Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools, a donde servimos más de 200,000 de estudiantes. That includes children in preschool and adults through our workforce program.
Hi, I'm Jessica Vaughn, the school board's vice chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of 24,000 people working at close to 250 sites across the county.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to meet or email any of our board members and follow our district on social media. School board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum 635 and Frontier Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They are posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students every day. Todos los estudiantes, todos los días. Thank you for your interest in education. With your help, we are making decisions that shape our community's future.
The board meeting of October 1st is called to order. Member Vaughn will now lead us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence for all of the victims of the most recent hurricane, for all of the people who lost their lives, and for all of the people who are facing devastating property destruction, many of our friends and neighbors. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Will you please acknowledge our student entertainment?
Absolutely. I would like to thank Barrington Middle School Jazz Band, along with Principal Andrea Whitman and Director David Triplett Rosa. These wonderful students entertained us prior to the start of the board meeting. At this time, we'd like to invite the students up to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Isaiah Whitfield. I'm in 8th grade. I play bassoon in concert band and bass guitar and jazz band.
Hello, my name is Brandon Thompson. I play bass trombone in jazz band and in rip concert band.
My name is Jeremiah Daughtry. I play trumpet and I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Hector Guillen. I play alto saxophone in both concert and jazz band, and I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Josephine Evans. I'm in 8th grade, and I play drum set.
My name is Paisley Floyd. I'm in 8th grade, and I play tenor sax.
My name is Joshua Calixty. I play euphonium and symphonic band, French horn and concert band, and trumpet and jazz band, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Cooper Linneman, and I play trombone in jazz band and concert band, and I'm in 7th grade.
Hello, my name is Adrian Carmona, and I play trombone in both the concert band and jazz ensemble.
Hello, my name is Gabriel Kamen. I play French horn in the wind ensemble and trumpet in the jazz band. I'm in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Dominic Warfield, and I play bass trombone, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Xavier Falcon, and I play bass clarinet and bari sax.
My name is Scotty Uriatsigi, and I play drums in both bands.
My name is Knox Schaefer, and I play trumpet in both bands.
My name is Kennedy Kenyon. I play clarinet and wind ensemble and saxophone in jazz band.
My name is Javier Garces. I play trumpet in both bands.
My name's Hannah McCoy. I play clarinet and wind ensemble and saxophone in jazz band. I'm in 8th grade.
My name is Jonathan Davila. I'm in 8th grade and I play the alto saxophone in both bands.
My name is Elijah Colon and I play drums in jazz band and trombone and symphonic.
My name is Andrew Bacon and I play trombone and keyboard and I'm in 7th grade.
Hello, my name is Eli DeLong and I play piano in jazz band.
Hello, my name's Rylan Bland and I play trombone in both jazz band and symphonic.
My name is Juliana Krekich. I'm in 8th grade and I play tenor sax in both bands.
My name is Luna Garza and I play trumpet in both bands.
Hi, my name is Penelope Avlar. I'm in 7th grade and I play clarinet in symphonic band and tenor saxophone in jazz band.
Hello, my name is Nevaeh Thorpe. I play trombone in both symphonic and jazz band.
Hello, my name is Marcus Schussler. I play French horn and wind ensemble and trumpet for jazz band. I'm in 8th grade.
Hello, my name is Simon. I play bass and French horn and I'm in 7th grade.
Hello, my name is Peter Vasilev and I play flute in wind ensemble and alto saxophone in jazz bands.
Hi, my name is Zoe Glukoff. In jazz band, I play trombone, and in wind ensemble, I play the tuba.
My name is Lily Alerta. I play alto saxophone in both bands.
My name is Joaquin Aguirre, and I play trumpet in both bands.
My name is Drake Jones. I'm in 8th grade, and I play clarinet and wind ensemble and trumpet in jazz band.
My name is Mark Nelson. I play keyboard in jazz band and percussion in symphonic band.
Hi, I'm David Triple Rosa. I'm the band director at Barrington. I'd like to thank John, Lisa, and Tracy for helping create and continuing this wonderful event here at the school board. Of course, I wanted to also thank our wonderful Superintendent Baniers for helping all of us in our district to support the music and arts here in our district, as well as our awesome school board members. Thank you so much for hosting this event again. Thank you.
Fantastic job. If parents want to come take a quick picture, you may.
Want to see themselves.
Squeeze in, kids. Squeeze in. Try to get as close as you can.
Get as close as y'all can to each other.
If some need to go to the front of the table, they can too.
Everybody else? Very good. Well done.
Fantastic job.
Is that your son? No. Yeah, the boys are in college. If these kids are son's in college.
Thank you, students and parents. We have one withdrawal item for today. 704, approve temporary construction easement between School Board of Hillsborough County and Hillsborough County at Gibsonton Elementary. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Vaughn. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes with Member Hahn away from the dais. Let the records reflect that all board members are present with the exception of Member Hahn. I have one set of minutes to be approved today, September 17, 2024 school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Vaughn and a second by Member Combs. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Board members, I would like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we are a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn and succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave a way for efficient and effective agenda statements or questions. Board members, we will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterward, the superintendent can respond. If you have further questions, you are asked to get back in the queue. Member Vaughn will now read the board guidelines.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we begin this afternoon's meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on the live webcast, on cable TV, and on video monitors here in the auditorium. It can also be viewed with closed captioning in our online video archive.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. We have one item scheduled for time certain at 6 p.m., employee input. We will have recognitions this evening. A1, recognition of LGBTQ plus History Month, October 2024. Member Vaughn will highlight this recognition.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In October, we recognize and honor the historical contributions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer members of our community. This month celebrates the important moments in the history of the LGBTQ plus people and their accomplishments and contributions to society. As a school district, one of our responsibilities is to ensure that our campuses are welcoming to all students and that we provide insight and understanding of other cultures to those unfamiliar with them. The School Board of Hillsborough County recognizes the importance of LGBTQ plus History Month as an effective way of educating and calling to action our community to work together to promote equal protection of all Hillsborough County students and staff, regardless of sexual orientation, gender expression, or gender identity. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. And recognition A02, this is the recognition of the Bucks Best Crew Award. Brian Ford, Chief Operating Officer, and Marie Courtney will come up. Anne-Marie Courtney, Director of Partnerships, Engagement, Philanthropy, and Outreach, will be introducing this.
Hi, good afternoon, board members, superintendent, crew, cabinet members, and guests. It is my pleasure to introduce a recognition program, Best Bucks Crew, supported by our amazing partner, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This program recognizes standout Hillsborough County Public School teachers, administrators, and support staff for outstanding service, impact overall on students, and accomplishments beyond the classroom and school. We are honored to have Brian Ford, Chief Operating Officer of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, here tonight to announce this month's award recipients.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Anne Marie, and thank you, board members, Superintendent Ayers. I am the one that's honored and humbled to be here before you this afternoon, especially after a week, and I just wanted to start by saying thank you for the support that you've given to the families in our community and getting everybody back, and our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that's been affected. But we have a tradition at One Buck where anybody that goes over and above gets a game ball. And last month I was here and I presented you folks with one, and I am so excited on behalf of the Glazer family and our entire organization to see this program get started. And in reading the recipients this month, I don't think you could pick 3 more deserving individuals, and I'm so excited to share their story. But again, we are so excited to start this program, and we look forward to continuing it and having the year-long winners as well at the end of the month. So the first individual that we'd like to recognize is Mr. Dennis Mayo, and he's right over here. Good afternoon. Thank you. As our first Best Crew Award for a principal that's worked in Hillsborough County Public Schools for over 30 years, currently serving as principal of Marshall Middle School. He's a true servant leader who genuinely cares for every student and staff member, making Marshall feel like home for so many individuals. His love for the arts, specifically, and the belief that every student deserves a chance for success is seen through his attendance and his involvement at every concert, parade, and performance, marching with the students and handing out waters along the way. During difficult times, he's even found a way to fund the music program, which had an insufficient music library and little instrument inventory. Now, Marshall provides school-owned instruments to any student who cannot afford to rent one from the music store. Because of this unwavering leadership, tremendous vision, and teacher support, Marshall has experienced some of the highest academic learning gains in all of the district's middle schools. Staff at Marshall said that he is undeniably the best principal that they've ever worked for. That's quite a statement. Please help me and recognize Mr. Dennis Mayo, principal at Marshall Middle School, Magnan IB School, is a true servant leader deserving of Buccaneers Crew Award. I'll get out of the way so you can have one just for yourself. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for your support. Congratulations and thank you for your leadership and all that you do. Next up is Anissa Diaz, a K-5 teacher from DeSoto Elementary School. There you are. Congratulations and thank you. Our second award is for an individual who's involved in every aspect of success at DeSoto Elementary School. As the ESE contact, she leads the ESE team with grace, integrity, and a commitment to excellence. She works closely with teachers to ensure that all students, and especially students with disabilities, receive the very best support and instruction possible. She believes in the limitless potential of every child and communicates these beliefs to her students, staff, and parents on a daily basis. Because of her leadership, the learning gains of ESE students have consistently increased year after year. In addition to the academic support that she provides, she serves as a leader to the PBIS team, which supports positive student behavior across the entire school. She also serves as a Title I Family and Community Engagement Lead, working tirelessly to support meaningful family engagement at our school. Our Buccaneers Best Crew Award for Teacher of the Month goes to Anissa Diaz. Congratulations. And our last is a story that really hit home for me as a father of two sons. Shanita Strong, a bus driver. Come on over here. Congratulations and thank you. Let me tell your story. Ms. Strong is a bus driver for Oak Grove Elementary School, Hillsborough High School, and Memorial Middle School. On March 28th, a school bus driver demonstrated extraordinary quick and courage thinking in the face of adversity. Despite bad weather conditions, she noticed a young child in distress on a busy road and acted swiftly. She activated her bus stoplights, halted traffic, and safely retrieved the child, ensuring their well-being by keeping them secure on her bus while calling for assistance. You remember that day? It's tremendous. Her dedication to the safety and welfare of the children she serves extends far beyond the ordinary call of duty. Her decisive actions on that day not only averted a potential tragedy, but it also exemplifies the unwavering commitment she brings to her role every day. She truly embodies the values of excellence and compassion that Hillsborough County Public Schools holds in the highest regard. You've been also nominated for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement Florida School Bus Operator of the Year Award. We're going to bring that home. That's amazing, and congratulations. Congratulations, school bus driver, Memorial Middle School, Hillsborough County High School, and Oak Grove Elementary School. Game ball for you as well. I'll hold that for you. Thank you guys for the opportunity to have this program. I'm so excited to see it. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input to the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. However, it is requested when you address the board, comments not be directed personally against any a board member or staff, but rather directed at the issues. Any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. Our civility policy is in place. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Reminder that your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern. A red light and a chime will indicate when your time is up. I will now call up the first 5 speakers.
Good afternoon, Board. I was here a few weeks ago. I addressed an issue about asking you to relocate a bus stop. I had not received a reply on that issue. At the time, the justifications that I made were that its current location is not safe for the kids, first of all, because it's on a dark, desolate, unpatrolled roadway that has no shoulder and no sidewalk for the students to walk on. Secondly, that area has a potential for violent crime. Lastly, I said that, well, two other issues actually. One, it isn't really fair because some kids have to walk the entire way where other kids don't have to walk at all, so it would be really more fair for it to be somewhere in the middle. And lastly is that the property that it's currently located upon, it exposes those owners to legal liability if there were injuries on that property. I doubt that many people come to you with a solution. And at that time, I did present a solution, which I think is better than the solution the Hillsborough County School Board gave me when they said, oh, just put everybody into the criminal justice system, trespass the kids and the parents, and let's see where it goes from there. I have that in writing. So the solution I presented was, why don't we just move the stop 150 yards down the road where the bus makes the U-turn anyway. There's a large county easement there. It's most convenient, and it's very appropriate. So again, I'm asking you to move the stop so that we can avoid a greater problem with having to get a legal system involved, because nobody really wants that. And this is so much easier than even answering a complaint to a lawsuit. So I will close with asking you once again, please move the bus stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Jason Ferger. First, this isn't part of what I want to say, but I'm going to make a formal request here publicly tonight to Ms. Combs. Ms. Combs, please stop texting me. Please stop texting me, especially at midnight at 2 o'clock in the morning. Stop texting me.
Please don't address
Thank
the
you.
board member.
No, I'll address her. She's texting me. Right here, inappropriate stuff. I could care less about your health insurance. In fact, quite the opposite. I hope you guys go to self-insured underneath Tracy Schatzberg and the current HR person here. I hope you do, because I want to watch it burn. I want to watch it explode like it has at many other districts. I know the facts. You guys don't know the facts. So, Ms. Perez, you said you welcome comments from citizens and values your input and board in order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments. Our staff will follow up and keep our board informed of responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board and appreciate you taking your time here. So please don't interrupt me. I spoke on September 17th about the CFO job description, and it was taken down. 2 weeks ago later, it is not put back up. Although Mr. Ayers and I had some very interesting dialogue last night, I certainly hope he and others do the right thing. I really have not had what I would describe as a comprehensive response. By a show of hands, has anyone here gone to Broward, Miami-Dade, or Orange County and reviewed the job description and requirements? Seeing a show of hands, that tells me that no one here has gone to Orange, Broward, or Miami-Dade counties and looked at that. Now, the one thing that I think is really skipped over here, and I'm not going to have enough time to speak because, you don't really want to hear from us, especially if you want to just continue to text us in appropriate times. Fitch places Hillsborough County, Florida schools rating on a negative watch. That was on April 29th. The previous CFO started here on March 21st, and then on September 30th, the current, or former now, CFO left. But on Monday, September 23rd, and you guys haven't talked about it, at least I haven't seen you talk about it, Florida schools are upgraded to an A+. And it goes on to say here that you have a 20% fund surplus. So my question is, why would you want to hire a teacher to be the CFO position when it's finally taken 3 years for somebody from the outside to help fix this? And yet again, when you look at that job description, it is a principal that you're trying to put in that position. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, Mike Plore, Middleton High School. Go Tigers. Well, I've been here the past few weeks to expose the symptoms of the flawed industry certification process with the school board approval from July 18th of this year. Today, I have some of those answers for you on how this came to be. It comes as no surprise that these barriers to student participation and teacher implementation are born from financial fraud and failed oversight. CT leadership has implemented an ongoing system to deprive students of the chance at acceleration points, high school credits, and workforce benefits due to simple laziness. The Florida Department of Education and state legislation put exactly no prerequisites, no practice exam requirements, and no other impediments to students taking the certification exams. This practice of prerequisites and scoring 20% higher on the practice exams is an invention of Mr. Chris Jargo only and has no known precedent in the state. The purpose of this is solely to exclude students from participating in industry certification exams. State statute section 103.493 states that each school is expected to maintain at least a 50% pass rate on each individual certification exam. Failure to achieve the state-required 50% pass rate will result in a 3-year strategic plan of improvement to improve the passage rate of the career-themed course. Nowhere does that say exclude students. Additionally, I spoke with the Florida Department of Education Director of CTE today, Mr. Lee Crisp Walton. We discussed this situation, and he shares my reading of this particular statute. Insomuch as a student that did not test in that class counts in the 50% that failed. It is that course is a pass rate, regardless of whether or not you included or excluded that person from attempting that exactly exam. We should be looking for inclusion in this particular point. I look at your preparing students for life, and I need to know what possible vision do we have in our CTE department today, as I don't see this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can I have speakers 6 through 11 line up, please?
Good afternoon. I'm speaker 4. Okay. My name is Rick Fernandez. I'm president of the Tampa Heights Civic Association. I was here with you last month. These comments are offered in both my personal and representative capacities. In June, the school board representative on the Transportation Planning Organization, the TPO board, voted to support the addition of new capacity, that would be lanes, cars, and pollution, on I-275 north of Hillsborough Avenue to Beers. We asked the school board to take appropriate action leading to reversal of that vote. The subject vote was cast in support of a motion made by Commissioner Wastel. The motion was made without notice and came as a total surprise to the public. The vote was 8-7, so the one vote cast from this board was a swing vote. Given the surprise nature of Wastel's maneuver, there is no way that this issue could have been litigated by the school board in advance of the TPO action and vote. The vote, cast in your name, was effectively one person's opinion and has exposed many of your constituents to health and safety risks that will go long into the future. We ask you please to do your due diligence. Consider the flawed process leading us to this moment. Do you want to carry the burden of your colleagues' vote into your future and to your constituents? Please note, Tampa City Council has unanimously passed a resolution opposing the capacity increase on I-275. The TPO Citizens Advisory Committee has passed a motion 10-1 recommending removal of the capacity language advanced by Wastel. The TPO board stripped the capacity language from the Transportation Improvement Plan in 2021, at that point with the support of the school board representative, Ms. Vaughn. The communities along I-275 corridor north of downtown interchange have opposed this capacity increase since the rollout of TBX in 2015. This is not a close call, either politically or as a matter of policy. There is still time to get on the right side of the issue. The next TPO board meeting is scheduled for October 16. That's the next opportunity to fix this. Final note, the contested vote was cast by a single district member, District 4, with no constituency within the compacted or impacted communities. Please consider appointing a county-wide school board member to the TPO board as a step toward accountability in the future. I incorporate my emails to you by reference, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello. Thank you for allowing us to be here today. I'm speaking on behalf of the ABA and PIP rights. Of course, I have a special needs child in Hillsborough County. He belongs to you. I share him with you all. I'm coming up on the tail end as a parent of his school year because he's graduating. I can tell you, Chance, that he'll be reading a poem about with him. ABA and PIP rights in our school, I can tell you his educational career would have been so much easier on me, on him as a student, and the educators as well. So I will share that as mom. I can tell you it definitely would, it's been hard on educators as well because it takes work to really dive in to give our, specials who mean so much in the world, right? So they can function in the world, to have it in our school systems to help them prepare so they can function in life, okay? We need this in the state of Florida. I'm going to share. I fight for him, and I know a lot. I know you all fight too. I know the fight is hard, as a mom. Having this for our families to help make it adaptable, where there were times where he was in school, he couldn't communicate. And it was frustrations, with families. We lived it, Thank God, May 29th, we're going to shake the hand. He's mainstreamed in school of his principal, and we're going to graduate. We're going to celebrate with you all, But going forward, if we can have ABA and PIP in our classrooms to help parents, to help you all, to help our educators and the students, because our main goal from the time we give our babies to you all, right, we got to prepare them for life. So if I'm not here, Jordan can function in life on his own. Okay, and thank you. And he's going to read a poem.
Thank you.
A poem called Chance. Just chance, can you feel, see, or smell chance? Chance, chance, chance. Chance is a friend to hope. Chance is a friend to believe. When you are given chance, it is a feeling of belief. Why beg for chance when it is free, free, free? Yes, free. You should see chance in a vision, a dream, an opportunity for someone to say, I believe you can. I will give you the chance to be the chance to be amazing, the chance to be unique in your own ability, the chance of growth, to be it whenever you gain 10%, 20%, maybe 80% growth, maybe 100%, but I grew because of chance. Chance is the ability to know when given you can succeed because chance was given to you. Chance is a gift, a beautiful gift. Someone are capable of giving you chance. To all, some are capable of giving chance to a very few. Once it given, we blossom into beautiful flowers because someone gave us just a chance. Someone gave us the chance to succeed. Just give a little chance today.
Jordan, you did amazing. Thank you. Yes. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane LeBlanc, and I'm here today on behalf of Project ABA Rights. Thank you for allowing me to speak today on behalf of my clients and their families. I'm a BCBA that provides in-clinic services to autistic children. As our clients demonstrate progress and they become of school age, we begin to facilitate transition to school, and we work diligently to support families through this process. In my almost 5 years of providing services in the state of Florida, these conversations with parents are often wrought with trepidation from parents who repeatedly voice concerns regarding not only the safety of their children, but also the opportunity for their children to access supports within their home communities that address their unique learning needs. Many of my clients have a history of aggressions, self-injury, property destruction, elopement, provided intervention with individuals that are highly trained to decrease these behaviors. They are often mitigated to low levels. However, without these supports in schools, they run the risk of returning, increasing to dangerous levels that put them at risk and put our school personnel at risk. I would like to be able to assure families that these children will receive free, safe, and appropriate services when they transition from our clinic to school. But there have been many barriers. I've had many families that have had to leave their jobs and homeschool because there are no other options. They have no experience with homeschooling. I've had families that have had to drive over an hour to drive their child to school. That's 4 hours of driving a day. I've had families that have been told that their child with significant needs should go into a classroom with one teacher and 20 other children, and let's see how it goes. That's very scary for families. Conversations with other BCBAs have yielded similar experiences. Today, we urge the school board to consider these children and their families when voting on district-level policies. We request a revision of the policy to allow for this wonderful opportunity to utilize ABA as a resource to facilitate successful transitions to school communities, to collaborate with school professionals, assist with building internal capacity, and to ensure an appropriate fade-out plan. We respectfully request consistent standards across the district with the PIP, with the PIP, regarding ABA services in schools. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Farah Backus, and I'm speaking on behalf of Project ABA Rights. Due to the hurricane, many of our members could not make it here today, but I would like to address some concerns that our group has with the private instructional personnel process. At every stage of the PIP process, there are barriers preventing students from accessing applied behavior analysis therapies in schools. First, the PIP packet has become unnecessarily complex, filled with legal jargon. Many parents feel pressured to sign without fully understanding the terms, which can lead to legal costs and forced agreements just to maintain their child's services. Recently, some schools have even required IEPs to be put in place before they commence the PIP process, further delaying the start of services by several months. Second, once the PIP packet is submitted, there's no clear timelines for the school to approve the packet or schedule a collaboration meeting. This lack of clarity delays and affects students, particularly at the start of the school year. Third, when collaboration meetings do happen, administrators often delay treatment by requesting unnecessary observation and data, despite the fact that ABA services have been already recommended by the child's physician, behavior analyst, and insurance. Additionally, this therapy is restricted to non-instructional time, which fails to meet the child's actual needs. These decisions should be data-driven and collaborative. The PIP process must be streamlined. We need clear timelines, fair access to ABA services, and immediate action to remove these unnecessary barriers. It's time to prioritize the needs of our children and ensure they receive the support they're entitled to without delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, board members and superintendent. I'm Britt Wegman with HCTA Executive Director. I'm going to start with a quote here. The policies on paper give stability to our finances outside of the district when looking at us. But when we violate that policy, it has to be changed. There's no such thing as an emergency for a policy. You violate policies all of the time. This is a recommendation from the CFO during the board workshop on August 27, 2024, concerning board policy 6210. This, along with a lot of other information that was shared, is misleading at best during that meeting. The question I pose today is, what is the urgency and rationale for changing a policy that you are not in violation of currently to a policy that you most certainly will violate based on the current board-approved budget and the past several years of budget reporting? The reality when you read the current policy is that HCPS is already the policy already stipulates that the unassigned classification of the fund balance alone be higher than all like size and surrounding county policies at 6 to 13%. This fact was utilized in a presentation made to this board on February 20th, 2024 by the CFO, where the policy was cited. The proposed changes, as posted now, would require the unassigned fund balance alone to be 16% by increasing two separately defined portions of the unassigned reserve to 8% each. This 16% amount is higher than the combined assigned and unassigned fund balance in the district summary budget presented and passed by the board on September 5th, 2024, which is 10.25%. The board has continually asked and been told that the fund balance is north of 20%, which is only true if you calculate all 5 classifications of the fund balance: the non-spendable, restricted, committed, assigned, and unassigned, at the end of last fiscal year. The truth is, the district has passed a budget with an unassigned fund balance set at 10.25, with all 5 classifications totaling 13.5. And it's important to note that the state only looks at the assigned and the unassigned at the 3% minimum. This policy change is egregious and unnecessary, and if implemented would require the unassigned classification of the fund balance, which right now is budgeted at $213.9 million alone for 24-25, to increase by an additional $121 million. Where does the board plan on finding these funds? The CFO also stated other large districts of our size in Florida, their fund balances are kind of higher than ours. This is misleading when you look at Broward, Pinellas, Dade, Polk, Palm Beach, and the Florida state average unassigned and assigned fund balance. The CFO also stated that 3% is the lowest the state requirement, and you could lose that money at any time. One major negotiation that goes left or a bad decision made. Now we can use some of the fund balance for initiatives that we might have that we didn't decide to do before. We can restrict the fund balance. First, this statement is bad faith towards the process our employee unions have practiced in negotiating and is contrary to the definition of the unassigned classification set forth in the Florida DOE Red Book. Most importantly, what other initiative could this board possibly prioritize above addressing the current situation of massive vacancies, crowded classrooms, and a workforce that is struggling to pay their bills? What HCTA has seen and proven in the past few years of budget trends is that the funds that are typically budgeted for employee salaries and then are not spent are siphoned into self-imposed restriction. Annual excess funds that have been budgeted and unspent should be used to address vacancies, crowded classrooms, and compensating your workforce. The Hillsborough Classroom Teachers Association urges board members to make a motion today to remove the proposed changes to Board Policy 6210 from 11.01 of the consent agenda and abandon this revision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. I would like to thank actually a man that I met today, Mr. Tom Rass, for bringing to light something very disturbing, that the superintendent and deputy purchasing director had gone on a trip to the Masters Golf with the vendor. I think this is a terrible example to your procurement department and your purchasing agents when they shouldn't even be accepting free lunches, and the people that are purchasing light bulbs, chemicals, and protecting the taxpayers and the kids. I will request that FDLE and or FBI, not a legal firm, do an investigation to prevent text messages, emails being deleted. You are the last stop to protect the kids and the taxpayers. Do not compromise yourself. Do not make friends with taxpayers' money, and do the right thing. My concern is, how many more times has this happened? I listened to the on Mr. Ratz's blog a video on May 7th, 2024, where it was misrepresented to y'all on some land that you were, I guess, being paid, conveying, which I don't understand how you can convey property without public notice. But it was represented at 0.96 acres, and then it was represented differently at 0.9 acres. Actually, it's the true acres is 1.05. But more importantly, there was nothing told to y'all that there's a 12,467 square feet building on it, a Class A unicorn warehouse. It probably was in the appraisal, but y'all aren't commercial realtors to read that, so I totally understand. I think if we didn't have the mismanagement of this school board, we could and should pay our teachers more. But because of the mismanagement we have here, that is the reason we can't. Thank you very much, and thank you for being public servants.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. I just want to say for the record that no one on this board is texting me at inappropriate times. So thank you all for not doing that. I appreciate my sleep. Good afternoon. My name is Jason Marlowe. I'm here as the Vice President of the Southeast Seminole Heights Civic Association, but I'm also here on behalf of Old Seminole Heights and University Square Civic Associations who have come along with us in united opposition to Commissioner Wostel's proposal to expand 275. I want to add that we're in consistent discussion with several other civic associations, including Forest Hills, Sulphur Springs, Lowry Park, Temple Crest, and Tampa Overlook. So when I talk about being the entire United Urban Core, I do in fact mean it. I'm proud here to be speaking on behalf of thousands, tens of thousands of Tampanos who are opposed to this stupidity. And I want to be here specifically to ask this board to examine the procedure of how this board votes on our transportation planning organization. No disrespect to Member Rendon, who might not be particularly aware of our Urban Core's opposition to this project, but we are united in opposition to this $500 million boondoggle. Effectively, we're asking for this body to examine the procedures, and I would argue that this body's member on the TPO should, in fact, as previously mentioned, be county-wide, so that there can be an increased level of accountability. Further, it would seem inappropriate for Tampa citizens to not have the level of accountability with the school board member on the TPO. Lastly, I'll just say that we, the citizens of Tampa's Urban Core, are counting on you to redress and reflect and reverse this controversial vote, to stand up to this fiscally reckless idea that would directly negatively impact tens of thousands of your constituents. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Please vote when your lights appear. Consent agenda. And the consent agenda has been approved. The following items will now be heard: C-203 and C-701. C-203, Agreement for Technical Services, the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship to provide teacher support for entrepreneurial programs. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship continues to play a crucial role in our district by providing entrepreneurship, curriculum, and support to 120 instructors across 55 middle and high school sites for the 24-25 school year. In 23-24 school year, our partnership with the NFTE contributed to over 2,917 students earning the Entrepreneurship and Small Business industry certification. So, Madam Chair, that is item 203, and I know that Chris Jargo and Larissa Diaz-Lizarraga are here. If you have any further questions regarding 203, the agreement for technical services for NFTE.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item C, 203. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Gray. Member Gray, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do. I mean, I was a former entrepreneur and woman in the 90s and had very little direction and a huge business. So I fast forward, Mr. Jargo, we had the State of the Region. Superintendent Ayers, you've gone to those. And 2 years ago, one of the lowest indicators of the 18 districts, the major district cities, Tampa being one of them, we were the lowest in women entrepreneurs and patents too, throw that in. But I was very concerned because why, with all this growing city and all the other dynamics going on in this city, why aren't we doing a better job training women to become business leaders, business owners? And I'm sitting right next to Member Combs, who also was a business owner. So finding out that you're doing this has made me extremely, this is just as an individual board member, very, very happy. And I also want to give a shout out to Dr. Bob Gorlak, who I just talked to a few weeks ago, and he's starting up a workshops, teaching and learning for women entrepreneurs and hitting the Hispanic community. There's so many groups that are women that we never had the training, and we learned by the School of Hard Knocks. So I want to say this is an emblematic program for our district. And Mr. Jargo, can you go ahead and just make it shine even more than what I'm sharing right now? I just want to hear from what your where do you see this going?
Well, thank you very much for your support. I mean, entrepreneurship historically in our school system was quite small, if I go back to 10, 15 years ago. And I really want to credit Miss Larissa Lizarraga because under her leadership, it's flourished tremendously. We had only a few schools doing it, and now we have dozens of schools at the middle school and the high school level. And you're right, we focus on non-traditional careers, which is where there is a low percent of one gender in an area. And under her leadership, along with Suzanne Matthews, our resource teacher, they are out every day promoting entrepreneurship education, hospitality, tourism education, and the NIFTY program has really been at the forefront of it. So it's been a great program for us. I want to allow her to just expand on some of the great things she's doing.
And can you repeat your name, too? I want to thank you as well.
Good evening. Larissa Lizarraga. Thank you, and we appreciate the acknowledgement. And as Mr. Jargo stated, back in 2019, we had entrepreneurship programs in only 5 of our schools, a few middle schools, only 2 or 3 high schools. Now we are at 9 middle schools, 21 high schools, and we're continuing to expand the program. Most of the high schools are already offering the 3rd level program. So the high school level, we have 3-year program where the students gradually learn how to apply entrepreneurial thinking, entrepreneurial mindsets, and to start and run their own business. And NIFTY has been instrumental in providing the resources, the teacher support. A lot of our teachers who teach entrepreneurship don't have personal experience running a business, but they have been learning how to support the students as they start their personal business ventures. So we look forward to continue expanding this program. This has been instrumental for the growth in industry certifications in entrepreneurship and small business as well. We have multiple career CTE courses that align with the entrepreneurship and small business certifications, and NIFTY provides the coursework to prepare the students and ensure that they learn the entrepreneurial mindset, such as collaboration, adaptability, flexibility, innovation. And we look forward to continue expanding the programs at the middle and high school level.
This is excellent and very well timed, because when I go out to Shields in the South County, and you all probably know this, a lot of them want a business, some type of business expertise for setting up a nail salon, hair. I mean, I hear it, not that I hear it all the time, but I was exposed to that from Enterprising Latinas out in the Waimama area. and we're building the high school. Well, we have the high school opening, but the middle school. So you can see a lot of, but that begs the question of transportation. That's another situation. How are we, when we have students that aspire to become part of this training, how are we set up for transportation?
But one of the things that we do is we have a grant, the Carl D. Perkins grant, that allows us to transport students for all types of purposes. But I know many of the initiatives we've done around entrepreneurship, we've been able to use that grant. We also have gotten the education and entrepreneurship training grant from the Florida Department of Education for basically all the years that they've offered it. They've now sunset it, and they've rolled it in to our typical Perkins grant. So we're going to continue these types of initiatives, and that's why this contract with NIFTY is part of our Carl Perkins grant. It'll go into an application that we'll submit to the Department of Education. But we understand the need for transportation. We understand the need for work-based learning, activities that are off of the school campus. And Larissa and her team have done a wonderful job of providing them events at other sites like the region, like the convention center, so that the students can see when you are an entrepreneur, you have to get out into the community and be at some of these wonderful locations around the Tampa Bay area.
Well, that's excellent. And, that's always the number one barrier is transportation when you talk about South County, Southeast County. So I'm glad that you're addressing it. Thank you so much.
Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What makes me excited about this item is it not only addresses potential opportunities for students and allowing them to see beyond the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but it gives them life skills. It does also address the reading, the writing, different aspects of curriculum in which they still need to do for whatever they choose to. But then it brings in the literacy, the financial literacy on how you save in order to do the next thing, how you build upon what you know and give yourself opportunity. It gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them a sense of self-awareness. It gives them a sense of you're in control of your life and the decisions you make impact your future. And I think those are life skills that no matter where they go, they learn. And I think that's very important. I also like the fact that they learn to do research, evaluate, look at the economy, understand when the economy changes, how that could directly affect what happens in your life, how it can affect what skills you need to move forward, how you need to save for those potential times. So whether they choose to go into entrepreneurship at any point in time, these are life skills that they'll be able to use in whatever career they choose or whatever they decide to do in life. It builds them a better future for themselves and their family. And so for that, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for expanding this to all of our students throughout our county.
Thank you, Member Rendon. When we look back from 1972 to today, back in 1972 was 402,000 women-owned businesses. Today is 12.3 million, and they employ over 10.7 million workers. 1,821 businesses are started by women every single day. So that, on average, is about 40% of the businesses are owned by women. That says a lot, especially to our young ladies that, that they don't have to work for someone, that they could work for themselves. So empowerment, especially women empowerment, is what you're educating our young ladies to do for their future. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing and this course that you're directing our young ladies and for their life. Thank you. So seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when you see your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item C701, Agreement for Ed Plan Access between the School Board of Hillsborough County and the Tampa Police Department. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, this is a new agenda item, as this is approval that's required by state statute that was just passed in July of 2024. So in accordance with chapters 1001, 1002, and 1006, Florida statutes and Rule 6A1, .0019 Florida Administrative Code, this approval is required by state statute passed in July 2024. So to kind of give a little more detail into Ed Plan access with the TPD in our school district, Chief John Newman is here to expand a little more on 701.
Good evening. So the item in front of you really is something that definitely was born out of the modifications that the state made to the legislature this year. Previously, when we followed the mental health CSTAG model, which was the Comprehensive Student Threat Assessment Guide, you didn't have to have mandatory law enforcement. And if they did, it was not nearly as involved as it is now. So the state retooled the mental health thing to the Florida model, and part of that is mandatory law enforcement involvement. They have to be part of the core four of every school team. So both Tampa Police Department and Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, who we have MOUs with, never really had access to our Ed Plan, which was where we keep our mental health reports, because they're part of that reporting now. So we have to give them access to that. So they're part of their team. They make the recommendations. The core four is the administrator, the counselor, the law enforcement practitioner, and then usually some staff member that has anecdotal information about that student. And they all work collaboratively to create that report. And then you have a site-based threat management team that implements whatever plan that team comes up with. So we need to provide them to that access to that platform so they can do what the state asked them to do after July 1st.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve item C701. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Rendon. Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you so much, Chief Newman. I really just pulled this item. I think with the school year that we've had, or really in the especially this year, but every year, I just really want to thank you for your leadership. I know there's been many challenges, and you have done such a great job. You, along with the Tampa Police Department and all law enforcement, and especially, I think, to our school resource officers. I mean, they do so much work. They do so many things, and often, we don't talk about that. And so those individuals are extremely underpaid, just like the rest of our staff and teachers. They work so hard, and I just want to thank you for your leadership and making sure our schools are safe and making sure that you have great communication with the parents, the community. So thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chief Newman. I think it's fitting that we bring this to the board today after the last couple weeks and recognizing the fact that these threat assessments aren't always something that go public. They could just be a mismanagement of behavior within a school where the school has recognized that there's a need for an assessment of an individual or a situation. But we've also had, numerous threats. And I cannot thank all of our law enforcement partners around the entire county of Hillsborough County, whether it's Tampa Police, whether it's Plant City Police, Temple Terrace Police, Hillsborough County Sheriff. They have been on top of and partners with us on every step of the way, ensuring that every single one of our students are safe. And I agree 100% with Member Combs that our resource officers in every one of our schools play such a critical role in the safety of our students on a daily basis. They know our students. They know our campuses. They develop the relationship. They know when there's something that's changed. They know when there's something that stands out. And we cannot thank them enough and recognize them enough for the value they put in each and every one of our schools. I also want to take this opportunity to remind every single one of our parents in Hillsborough County, please talk to your children. Please monitor their web. Please monitor their social media sites. Please monitor their devices, whether it's their phones, their laptops, their iPads. Please monitor them. Please have conversations with them. We want all of our children safe, and we want your children to succeed. And it's because of that that we urge you to be a partner with us in this process. We want our kids at school, we want them safe, and we want them learning. So I just urge all of our parents to be partners with us and thank all of our law enforcement partners and our resource officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Seeing no further comments or questions, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next item is 1201, Office of State Safe School Mandatory Reporting. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, this is an information item. So this is the Office of Safe School Mandatory Reporting, which is a new legislative mandate emphasizing the importance of accountability and compliance. This mandate reinforces HCPS's commitment to school security and safety. It has identified patterns and trends that will help better address site vulnerabilities and ensure fidelity in our security measures. Chief, if you want to add a little bit.
Sure. Thanks again for letting me talk about this item. Again, this is a legislative mandate that was changed July 1st. So I will provide you with the 4 times that I'll be in front of this board to talk about our quarterly reports. This is our first quarterly report. The reports that will come out of the Office of Safe Schools will talk about campus access control, safe areas, and whether or not our classroom doors are locked. The Office of Safe Schools has not produced their first quarterly report. They have to visit every one of our campuses within 3 years. As a safe school specialist for Hillsborough County, I have to visit, or my team has to visit, our sites every year. So what we did to kick off this initial quarterly report, we did some self-assessment with our principals on some of the things that are regulatory that, believe it or not, the auditors are going to ask for. So you'd like to see 100%, but it's okay that we're not there because we have charter in our mix, and not all of our charter schools use Centegic. But some of the questions we asked our principals: is your crisis management plan complete? Are all the employees in your campus, have they been trained with Centegic? Have you told all your faculty members that they have to keep their classroom doors locked during instruction? These will be the types of reports that the Office of Safe Schools will bring. Then I'll put that together with our in-house reports, and every quarter we'll produce that report to the board. It should be noted this must be done in a public session, so we will not talk about individual schools. We don't want to do that to reveal any type of vulnerabilities if they're not in compliance with certain issues. If a school is not in compliance, I have 1 day to acknowledge that on the Florida Safe School Assessment Tool and 3 days to give a course of action of how we're going to fix that. I will tell you, the auditors have started to come out. Storm notwithstanding, they have a job to do. They were in East County today, and they were very pleased about where we were with some of our sites, even only a couple of days after school. This is not something that the Safe Schools Office is looking to do to penalize a campus. They just want fidelity, and they want accountability. So our original in-house audit shows that all of our schools are following what the auditors would be looking for, and that's what you're seeing up here in this PowerPoint presentation that I'll also make available to you in hard copy. I actually had it in hard copy, and somebody finds that folder, just let me know. I'd really like to know where it is, but I'll make sure I get you all a copy of this. This is the questions that they'll be asking. The biggest thing for us is, are you keeping your classroom doors locked during instructional period? Do you know where your access control systems are? And that's very, very important. And are you drilling every month like you're supposed to? And I'll be honest with you, our principals are rock stars. We can pivot to a hurricane, and we can pivot to keeping our campuses safe, and they do a very good job. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
This item does not, it is only an information item and does not require a motion or a vote. But Member Gray, do you have any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Chief. I just had that one question. I think it altered the punitive value of a teacher forgetting to lock her door, and it goes to the principal. And I know there's a little bit of and I'll use the word punitive relationship. Did we get that changed? Is there a little bit of grace on that now?
Well, there was a carrot and there was a stick.
Right.
The carrot was to give each school $1,000 to the principal if they were compliant in their audits for the 3 years. And the stick was, if you weren't and you were in compliance, someone was going to get written up and there was going to be punitive. Now there's no money available. They did not pass that part. So there is consequences in terms of what our normal progressive discipline would be. So if a teacher or a staff member knowingly does not have their door locked or does not knowingly follow the established safety protocols, then they are subject to progressive discipline under the collective bargaining. So it did not make it out of the legislature how it was originally intended, where if you're doing great, you're going to get $1,000, and if you didn't do so great, you're definitely going to look at potentially losing your certification, starting at a very high bit of discipline. Now they're going to follow each district's progressive discipline under their collective bargaining, and there's no reward money, for the lack of a better term.
Yes. What about the substitutes? Is there any deviation?
No, but the substitutes are provided, especially when it comes to safe rooms. When they come in, they get a folder. Inside that folder is their Syntegia cards, their site threat continuum, which talks about lockdown, lock-in, lockouts. So far, they haven't really interviewed the teachers. They're just going by seeing if a door has been unlocked or not. So they haven't really done a lot of dialogue with the instructional staff that I've seen yet. So I can't answer that.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Chief.
Thank you, Member Gray. And I just have a question. Do all the schools have the new maps with the north orientation?
So yes, that came out of Senator Collins and Representative Alvarez's bill for the mapping. Yes. So matter of fact, we'll probably be getting it to you. I think I've shown it to some of you. Centete, once again, this district was, I always like to say it, we were way ahead. We were already doing mapping, 2D mapping with Syntegic about 10 months before that bill passed. I was grateful for the bill to be passed because it needed to be updated. But when you open up Syntegic mapping, it'll give you a true north. It'll give asset tags. So where's your first aid kit, stop the bleed kit, AED kits, water turnoffs, alarms, alarm panels, knockbox locations, law enforcement and fire rescue in this county have all been provided with the maps. And what we're beginning to do now is, because if you have the Syntegic application, you have a way to access those maps without getting an alert, and we'll begin to roll that out. But all of our law enforcement and the PSAPs, which is the 911 centers, have access to that mapping with a true north orientation.
Thank you. Next item is item 1202, review the financial impact and process timeline for consideration of renaming West Tampa Elementary School. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, at the September 17th, 2024 school board meeting, Chair Karen Perez introduced a request to consider renaming West Tampa Elementary School for E.J. Salsinas. I was asked to return with an information agenda item for today's meeting regarding the financial impact and process timeline. Included with the agenda item is information compiled by Principal Kevin Kastner, Region Superintendent Kristen Tonelli, Mr. Farkas and his team, and Ms. Arja and her team. As noted on the attachment, the estimated financial impact is approximately $23,000. The process for naming a school is included next and would require time to solicit community input, which is typically no less than 15 days. The process for school naming is facilitated by via Policy 7250, Commemoration of School Facilities. In addition, letter H of this policy reads, once adopted by the board, the name of a new or existing school shall be considered permanent. If the board subsequently initiates or is called upon to consider a name change, the board shall allow for community involvement, deliberation, discussion, and debate prior to taking action. Additional information provided to you is provided to you with the recent naming of Aquila Morgan High School that we included. Some other information that was talked about, we currently have 76 schools that are named for geographic locations. So that is the information item 1202. So I will, depending on the will of the board, some direction on next steps. But all the information that was requested at the last board meeting is in front of you. So that is item 1202.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Did you say there was information that you included from the principal in here?
Yeah. It should be in the cost.
Okay, but not feedback about the names change itself. You mean information for this? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I had questions about this. I appreciate the feedback. But what about, is there stationery at the school that would have the school name and information? Because that wasn't included. And there's also, I'm wondering if there's like PBIS, shirts or cups that they give for kids or visitors when they come in that would have already been monogrammed that might have been not included in this. I mean, it's minuscule, but I'm just wondering if those pieces.
Yeah, that wasn't included. It was more from the facilities operational side, name changing of signs, big items. But yes.
Okay. And then the other question I had was, did you say there's a timeline in here?
Yeah, so it would be the same timeline we follow for all of our naming. We would my recommendation would be to follow that same process that we just actually utilized for the naming of Aquila Morgan just 2 meetings ago. And I think that was 45 days was the amount of days that we had there for that one.
Okay, because I was looking over our board policy that you included. I appreciate that. And under H, once adopted, the board, the name or new existing school shall be considered permanent. If the board subsequently identifies or is called upon to consider a name change, the board shall allow for community involvement, deliberation, discussion, debate, even prior to taking action. So kind of in the vein of that, what I would like to ask for to be included that's probably not as typical as, another name change is more direct feedback directly from the school, the people who attend the school themselves, right? So I would like a survey with open-ended questions, not just your no, given to all of the parents whose students attend that school already. I'd really like some kind of really good feedback from the administrator there, how they feel about the name change and affecting the community, any of the admins. It's a different piece naming a school that's just being under construction as it is a school that's already in existence with a lot of history and a lot of stakeholders who may or may not be attached to it. So I would like to that to be added, looking at our board policy that talks about a more robust process of engaging and allowing debate around a school that's already been named that we're reconsidering. Does that make sense?
Yes, I hear what you're saying. So are you referring to as we come back again with this item, or are you talking specifically to this policy that we add?
When we come back, I'd like more engagement. I would like a survey sent to parents specifically, your school is up for a name change. Do you support that? Do you have concerns about that? I'd like, again, just some more engagement from, if we have an opportunity to talk to the administrator. I know it's a member Combs district and she's been able to talk to the administrator there, but I'd like to be able to just ask some questions and get a feel for it and just really understand the community at large that's already established there as we kind of go forward through this process.
Yep, thank you. Those would be some next steps. I think with this initial item as it come forward, it was really, I don't think at that point in time, last board meeting, we wanted to engage those families just yet. So those would be some great next steps that we could take, for sure.
And I know that might change the timeline, so that's why I had questions around it. And I wanted to make sure it fit within our policy, which it certainly does seem to based on H. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As a previous teacher in the West Tampa area, Jesuit, I would, I'll speak as an individual board member. I would prefer, as you put down, a community meeting within the same zip code, because when you have other players from different areas, that's fine, but a community engagement piece, in my mind, should include the proximity of the zip code around it. Now, that can be discovered, that can be debated as to which zip codes, but I think it would be much more responsible to have those who are impacted, especially in West Tampa, where the history, and Andy Scaglione, you're there too, West Tampa has a very tight way of protecting their historical statues, their any type of events, and so I would say if we added to H, and I'm trying not to be too nitpicky, it already has community involvement, and thank you, Member Vaughn, I absolutely agree, but I would also have the same zip code added to that. Otherwise, you're going to get, it'll be out of hand quickly, and it's important. It would be important to me if I were a West Tampa person or had a business or had, community leader meetings within that area, which I know they do. They have a chamber, very strong chamber, and so that would be my addition. And we can talk about that in the future, but I'm suggesting that in the same zip code or similar zip codes.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Combs?
Thank you, Chair Perez. A couple things. I really feel like this is really opening up a can of worms with 76 schools. I have visited West Tampa, I think, coincidentally, the next day I had scheduled visit because Tampa Bay Lightning and a partnership was there. So coincidentally, I ended up having to be in West Tampa the day after this meeting. I think it really took the principal by surprise and the administration by surprise that this was even a discussion. And I think this is not a really a good way of work. If you've been to West Tampa, there's several beautiful murals that have been, where artists have gone in there and made this beautiful mural. West Tampa is one of our oldest schools in Hillsborough County. And to spend, when we don't have funding right now, to spend $23,000 to remarket a school, and we have 76 other schools there, I just think it's not great. I supported the name with EJS Alcinas. I really wanted to support that because I do feel like there's a need to name more schools from our Hispanic community. I feel strongly about that, but I think we have to wait as we open more schools. We're opening schools out in South County all the time. I look at the partnerships that they've had. There's a CEO in schools individual that has been with West Tampa for years, who's elevated that school so much. So I think when we start spending so many hours naming schools, I just don't think that's a great way of work. I think the most important thing, our schools have so many things to worry about. Our administrators have so many things to worry about, to spend so much time rebranding the school. When you go into West Tampa and you see basically the area where they have all these trophies and schools from way back in the early 1900s. I mean, what are we in Hillsborough High School? Is that what we're going to do next? I mean, there is such a history in West Tampa. So it's not just engaging with the school. I think the first thing, I was taken by surprise because I am a very active school board member and I go to schools all the time. And I think the schools were surprised as well. I think that we really need to have a way of work, and I don't think this is a great way of work. I think that we need to name schools, keep the schools, the historical names like Harewood or Hillsborough High School or Memorial High School. I think about all these schools, Twin Lakes, everyone's going to think, am I next? Is my school going to be renamed? And then the branding of that school. I think that's really important. When I looked at the old junior high school yearbooks and I looked at that, it's so much larger than us looking at right now at 2024. We really need to look at the history from 100 years ago. So I personally think I don't really want to walk this path. I think $23,000 and those beautiful murals that people came in and volunteered. I don't know how you can put a price to that. People who volunteered their time and their work to do this beautiful artwork across West Tampa, and to change that, I know that I don't support that, and I know the administration doesn't support it, and I know the teachers are concerned as well, much less the community. I've engaged with the community, and they're not, there may be some people who want that. There's a beautiful area right across a building that we could name, but I know that we would like to look at different schools and what we name those schools. So I think let's pause this. Let's focus. We have so many greater things to work on. If you look at 23,000 times 76, that is a lot of money. So let's keep the history of West Tampa as it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. We will now take employee input, even though we hear public comment.
Yeah, so Mr. Porter, if on this agenda item, just for staff, for myself, any direction, next steps, I kind of heard some conversation. I need some clarity on, are there next steps? Do we want this survey to go out? We could just, Lee, I just don't want the board to think I'm to bring back some more information when I just need to be clear.
This is an information item, Mr. Superintendent. If you'll recall, the board directed that there be 3 steps to this. This was step 1. There's another information item that's in the future, and that needs to go forward. And I think Dr. Whalen has been working on that. But that was there's no motion tonight. There was direction given to you and your staff at the last board meeting that included 3 separate actions or 3 separate information items. So I think that's what the next step is.
Thank you. We will now take employee input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it is sometimes difficult for employees of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. This is with this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on today's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or the district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first speaker, the only speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Communications tells me that I have the whole half hour if I want. Don't worry. Those who know me know that
I don't know. The clock is broke,
I
I think.
I am not a woman of many words. So good evening, Chair, Board, Superintendent, Cabinet, all of those who are still here. I'm not a financial guru, but those who are suggest that individuals save 3 to 6 months of income, right? I think we all know this, whether you are like Susie Orman or whoever your guru is. Now let's say that somebody is ambitious in building their household budget. I mean, 3 to 6 months of income is good, but let's say I could get 12 months of income. I would feel super secure, right? Try as I'm, and I will try. I would try really, really hard to save that money so I could have a whole year just in case something happened. But I mean, I'm a science teacher, so I know nothing's going to happen. It's a good thing I'm paycheck to paycheck. Anyway, the reality is that most people cannot afford to save the amount needed to get 12 months of income socked away, because otherwise that would cut into the expense of your basic family needs, right? I mean, I might have to play the game of make sure that I'm not 30 days late on this card, or clip coupons, do everything that I can, but I won't get there, and I know I won't get there. So what the heck am I talking about? Well, admittedly, my analogy may be a little bit oversimplified when talking about the district budget. But I do have to say, as a board over the last few years, you have gotten your financial house in order. You have. And each time you've done that, every single person up here has said that you wish you could do more for the employees. The employees deserve better. So I'm wondering, what problem does raising the minimum requirement for the fund balance, what problem is that trying to solve? Because you don't have one right now. My ask of you is to take care of our Hillsborough County family before implementing a policy that's going to force you to continue building your fund balance on the backs of our employees, because that's what you would have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. We will move into the superintendent comments. Mr. Superintendent Ayers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my comments this evening, we're going to start really, it's just around, my comments around two significant factors. Number one is the hurricane and what happened as our district sprung into action, here just last Wednesday. So before we watch this video, I just want to say that my heart goes out to our staff and family who have lost everything due to Hurricane Helene. I mean, just getting back to work on Monday, you realize the significant impact being out at schools. Every school you go to, it's 4 or 5 of our staff members that were directly affected, and then there's several others that have family members or know friends that were affected by Hurricane Helene. So as the district sprung into action, I think when we got back on Monday and then realized the significant impact it had to our HCPS employees, it was pretty dramatic, and know that our family, our HCPS family is dealing with a lot of our employees are dealing with a lot right now. But before I get into that, our staff put in a lot of hard work. So I want to talk through what our staff does. So, as a school district, we are shelters for this community. We are the backbone of a community when it comes to, emergency situations, right? And that comes down to all of our employees in this school district. Our staff put in a lot of hard work last week to care for our community during the storm. Prior to schools closing, our teachers, support staff, and other school-based employees made sure our schools were prepared for the weather and sites to operate as shelters. We held Teams meetings with all district leaders and principals to provide updates and answer any questions. So, board, just so you know, what my role in this beginning on Wednesday is really to ensure that our communication is out to our entire staff and then also our families, to making sure they get the most up-to-date information. I'm proud of my team as we try to keep them up to date. As soon as we knew something, we wanted to get that information out and update them. We also had employees from student nutrition services, transportation, maintenance, custodial, security and emergency management, communications, and our school administrators that worked around the clock to ensure our shelters were up and running for evacuees, and our families and staff were kept up to date with information. So some numbers. Over 3 days, we welcomed 1,710 residents to our school shelter sites. 1,710, 54 pets that included dogs, cats, and birds, and served 7,395 meals and transported 80 people to and from shelters. I do want to take a moment and thank our 8 shelter sites. These are the ones I know, board members, a lot of you are out at the different shelters, so thank you for your support as you were out supporting our school administrators and our employees. It means a lot when they see our board that's out there supporting. So thank you for all your support. So I want to start out with Dr. Terrell Brooks over at Burnett, was one of our shelters. Gary Graham over at Durant. Sharon Tamicki at Irwin Technical College. As Chief Newman told me, Sharon was the last one. So Irwin was one of our last shelters. I think it was 3 nights that Irwin was, they stayed an extra night open as they, took some of our residents over to Irwin when we tried to close the other ones. Keisha Dixon over at Greco, Michael Levine over at McLean, Camilla Burton over at Middleton, Aaliyah Norman at Reddick, and then finally Krista Luloff over at Sickles. Those are the principals, but no, it's their entire team. It's there out supporting. I know as I was out at different sites with board members, you saw the entire administrative team that was there. It's not just the principal, but the support that showed not only with our shelter sites, but Ms. Wren and I, we were at this was actually not at Durand. This was at Sickles. I was over at Sickles, and there was the team that had been there for 2 or 3 days, and I'd asked them about some of the other schools and how they were helping. You have other schools that are there bringing them lunch, bringing them breakfast. So it becomes more than just, yes, our shelter sites hold the burden that are there because it's their sites. And by the way, they don't like to give up their sites. It's like their school. They don't want to give it up. But how the rest of our employees chipped in behind and supported them. We talk about Hillsborough Strong. It was pretty evident there. Also, our comm team sent out multiple updates via email, phone calls, text message, and social media to families and staff. Whether it was relating to school closures, shelters, resources, or athletic updates, our staff made sure our HCPS family received the most up-to-date information in a timely manner. From setting up shelters to working through the storm to helping our coworkers in need, I'm so proud of this school district. We're stronger together and never more evident than when this community is in need. And when we spring into action, it almost brings, tears to your eyes to see how our employees come forward and support this entire community. We did create a little video here that we want to show that just kind of sums everything up. Yeah, so that just kind of summarizes. And again, we made the decision working with the county that as we activated shelter on Wednesday, and then we initially closed Wednesday, Thursday. So always through that time, it's just minute to minute decisions. And I want to thank two of our leaders up top between Chief John Newman, Deputy Superintendent Chris Farkas. That kind of when this happens, these are kind of our two leaders, and then we all kind of follow and follow behind. And it was truly something to see how this community reacted, and we always will find ways to get better. We can always communicate better, but very, very proud of our team, of all of our employees for everything that they did to ensure that this community was safe. But as I mentioned earlier, the work is not over. I've talked to, I think it was on Saturday, two of our principals that lost everything. Right, so even though we show a video up here and we talk through us being there, but the work's not over. Our schools in the district are still working together to support our staff and families who are dealing with property damage and significant loss from the storm. The HCPS community can find a list of current resources on our website at hillsboroschools.org. Hillsborough Strong not only applies to just our school district, but to our community as well. So thank you again to all our employees.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers.
So more than a principal, so I just got a few more updates, and we do have a synergy update that I'm going to get to in just a moment. This month, we proudly celebrate National Principals Month and recognize the dedication of our incredible administrators. They work tirelessly, often behind the scenes, to create safe, nurturing, and thriving learning environments for both students and staff. To all our principals, thank you for your unwavering commitment to our students, staff, and school communities. Your leadership is inspiring, and we are incredibly fortunate to have such outstanding individuals guiding our schools. You help make Hillsborough County one of the best districts in the nation. As we talk about what drives student achievement, always number one is the teacher, and number two is always that school leader and having incredible school leaders. So we do have our principal meeting tomorrow, bright and early. So we'll be celebrating Principals Month tomorrow. We'll be at ISC beginning at 7:30. Also, thank you to our custodial workers. Tomorrow, we will proudly celebrate Custodian Appreciation Day. These hardworking individuals are the backbones of our schools, ensuring that every classroom, hallway, and facility is safe, clean, and welcoming for our students, staff, and families. Our custodians play a key role in creating an environment where learning can thrive. Whether it's early mornings or late evenings, your commitment shines throughout each day. And World Mental Health Day, next Thursday, October 10th, is World Mental Health Day. It is incredibly important to promote positive mental health with our students and staff as we encourage our staff to utilize available mental health resources. For the 23-24 school year, the Student Services team, as well as the district's mental health staff, screened and provided direct services to over 15,000 students. Our district will honor World Mental Health Day throughout the month by promoting mental health awareness on school marquees, as well as encouraging student-led activities such as creating posters, wall art, and sidewalk chalk displays promoting kindness, mindfulness, and mental health awareness statistics and information. Florida Department of Education, Hillsborough County Public Schools recognizes the first 2 weeks in October as Disability History and Awareness Weeks. During this time, we will highlight the work done to expand student knowledge, understanding and awareness of the contributions of individuals with disabilities, disability history, and the disability rights movement to our state. But on the hurricane, I just want to provide an update. We will have that goes out tomorrow. So we do have to make up days through the hurricane, and I forgot to mention that. So we are meeting with our principals in the morning. So we'll talk through that information with them, and the goal is mid-afternoon tomorrow to get those days back out for our missed instructional time and what that might look like. So to our families that are out there, that information will be out tomorrow for the makeup of that instructional time. And again, we have to have a certain number of minutes through the state to be able to qualify for credit, so we have to make sure that we meet those minute requirements. Before we get on to Synergy, I did want to address some comments that were made today, addressing some misinformation that I've talked to each of you about individually, and I think it's important that I talk about this in a public forum so everyone, including the broader community, has accurate information. In April this year, I took a trip to the Masters Golf Tournament in Augusta, Georgia. I took this trip on my own time and paid for it out of my own personal funds. Some individuals are now saying that this trip is somehow connected to a land exchange between the school district and Horace that this board approved in May. Let me be clear that it is absolutely not. Here are the facts. In the agenda item approved by the board May 7th, Horace agreed to build a brand new customized 20,000 square foot warehouse on the vacant land behind our warehouse on Hillsborough and 56th Avenue for an estimated value of $4.2 million. In exchange, the district would give Horace a property at Hannah and 50th that we purchased for $1.4 million. Let me repeat. The district would receive a custom-built warehouse worth in excess of $4.2 million in exchange for a piece of property worth $1.4 million. Because the district was not spending any funds, no RFP or competitive solicitation was required. In my role as superintendent, my job is always to put this district's best interests first. We did so in this transaction. The district is receiving a larger, brand new warehouse that's centrally located and helps us streamline our district operations. And thank you for letting me clarify that. Board members, in addition, we had some comments last board meeting around some direction around synergy. So I do want to have some discussion. I do have some slides we're going to talk through around synergy. We've had some many discussion on this board regards to synergy and what some next steps might be. I hope some of that discussion today will be able to provide some information to the public and to the board, and then be able to make some decisions as we move forward. So, Mr. Farkas.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. We heard the board and we've heard from the faculty loud and clear that some decisions need to be made. We need to be able to support our staff. There was a quick call to action, which was Layer 3 organization. Layer 3 Communications has been the group that came in and helped us when there was a ransomware attack. They know our group inside and out. They were not just instrumental in stopping the attack, but also in what's the rebuild look like. So reached out to our partners that were there and said, hey, we need some help. They have many clients throughout the country, some larger than us, some smaller than us, that have different SIS systems, including EduPoint, including other systems that could come in and make an accurate assessment of what we look like. So they've been here the last 2 weeks since the last board meeting and reviewed lots of things. They're going to talk with you a little about what that is, but I want to introduce the two people that you're going to hear from. The first one's Rodney Turner. Rodney Turner was founded Layer 3 over 25 years ago, industry leader in tech. He's on many advisory boards and is in the K-12 tech lane is known as one of the experts. Also, Serena Sachs-Mandel. She was the Chief Information Officer at Fulton County Schools, at Florida Virtual School, also had stints with Microsoft, Walt Disney, and IBM. So they both are in that world and know it as well as anyone. So I want to give them an opportunity to talk about what they found, what the current assessment is, and then what those next steps are. So we'll get to the clicker.
Thank you, Mr. Farkas. Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. So we were brought in over the last 2 weeks to really provide an independent third-party view and assessment of the synergy implementation. And we had an extensive, intense engagement that included a review of over 200 emails. We conducted 5 focus group studies that involved over 50 stakeholders and staff members. We met with the EduPoint team that included the CEO and other executives within the organization. We analyzed district documentation that included project tracking, Excel spreadsheets, various stakeholder relevant reports, bid responses, and things of that nature. And over the course of the last week and a half of doing that, we have several high-level observations and insights we'd like to share with the group. Number one, we've noticed that since this project began in October of 2019, there's been 3 different superintendents and 3 different technology leaders. Also, over that same period of time, we've all lived through COVID. One of the things that the district recognized is that the project needed some additional resources and appointed a project manager in December of 2022. However, it should be we should point out that this, over the last 5 years, it's been a transitional period for the organization, and some of the current team members are, second and third and fourth generation team members, and they've inherited a project that's already experienced delays. We've seen turnover in the functional groups. Superintendent Ayers exceeded Superintendent Davis in June of 2023. this project had a soft launch in July of this year. And one of the other observations and insight is that, under the pressure of getting this system going, there's been some of the best practices that have fallen by the wayside as the vendor has become more reactive to demands of user groups. All of this combined with a poorly structured sandbox and testing environment has made it very, very difficult to execute training. So one might ask yourself, what do we do from here? Can we go back to the old system? We had an old system for 30 years that was working presumably great before you started migrating to this new system. So as part of our 360-degree view analysis, we did a deep dive on what might be required to roll back to the legacy system. While rolling back to the legacy system is possible, there's a number of obstacles that we feel like we need to point out should you all decide to undergo that activity. Number one, some of the hardware components in the ecosystem of the legacy system are end of life, end of sale, and end of support. The data that's been entered into the new system doesn't easily backwardly map into the old legacy system. So in order to get this data back into the old system, there's a tremendous manual human effort involved.
So if I can just add that the special education codes from the state of Florida have changed from the last system to the current one. And they had to generalize the data to put it in the new system. And to go back, they would actually have to manually look at each student that requires special needs and redocument it in the old system, which we know has lots of other problems. So the manual effort of redocumenting each student is tremendous.
So, this combined with other security risks associated with the other system that include the old application, the legacy application has, sensitive personal data that's exposed, that's not masked, it's not hidden, it's exposed. So this represents a security vulnerability and a security risk for the district. On top of that, because you all were moving to a new system about 2 years ago, you put a freeze on code upgrades for the new system. For the legacy system. So the legacy system, while it's still here, it's operating on operating system code that's about 2 years old. And this operating system code has a number of cybersecurity vulnerabilities that haven't been upgraded and patched. When you combine that with the WebSphere front-end user interface that's also old code and has cybersecurity vulnerabilities, it's a very, very risky proposition to try to recover with the old system. Our team feels like that if you were to attempt to upgrade the software and re-enable the legacy system, more than likely you would probably break elements of the application and the screen in the old system.
So quoting our technical experts that have looked at this, they said it would be a colossal failure. And on top of that, we say, well, why would you spend all those resources trying to Band-Aid an old system that didn't really meet the needs and won't move us forward when you need those critical resources for a new system that will meet the district's needs?
So with that, we're trying to put our heads together and we go, okay, where do we go from here? If it's not really probable for us to recover on the old system, what do we do? And we would encourage the district to consider a multi-plan approach, Plan A and a Plan B, and run a Plan A approach and a Plan B approach in parallel. Plan A would involve stabilizing the existing Synergy systems while at the same time you put together a group within the district that evaluates new platforms that are available today. It's been 5 years since the district has looked at available platforms, so as a parallel effort, we believe that we need to live with the Synergy system today, because we can't roll back to the old system, and let's evaluate other technologies that are there. Stabilizing the current system would involve resolving any functional challenges or gaps that exist, particularly as it relates to state reporting, transcripts, special education. There's others as well. And then while you're resolving those functional gaps, after that's done, I think we could look at optimizing the system and training. Training's been difficult because we haven't really completed the implementation, so we don't have a stable environment to properly train the users. So these things go hand in hand. Now, one of the other things that we would encourage the district to think about is would involve a cultural shift in the way that you've approached projects in the past, and we would encourage you to look at formalizing and professionalizing a project management organization, change management, communication management, and training. And one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So we might encourage the district to think about taking a different approach moving forward than what you've done in the past. And if we take a look at what executing a Plan A and a Plan B in parallel might look like as you're evaluating a new platform on the market, what we would want to do is take advantage of the intellectual capital that we've learned as part of going through this process. So we would want to ensure that any platform would meet the state reporting requirements for the district. We would encourage the district to consider more implementing more out of the box standard functionality, which would actually introduce ease of future upgrades for the system. Also, Hillsborough is one of the largest school districts in the nation. There are challenges that any organization would have on a student information from a student information perspective, just from a scale and a performance standpoint. So there's some things, lessons learned as it relates to creating demonstration environments, sandboxes, testing functional performance of the system prior to implementation. And I would also, I'm also going to stress one more time to ensure that the project is properly staffed and funded for robust project management, change management, communications, and then functional and process training.
If I can just add that this project management, change management, communication, this cultural shift, these disciplines, this is a muscle that would change the culture of Hillsborough and enable it to not only execute the next project well, but create this long-term memory and this skill that every project going forward would use the same processes, the same standards, the same type of business analysis and project management and change management that really creates success in a project like this. Every technology project is a change management project because people have to change the way they work, and that takes a different mindset and different processes. So this is not only a plan for this particular project, but for all projects going forward.
And with that, I would like to pause there and maybe open the floor for any questions. We'll do our best to answer any questions anybody has.
Yeah, so that concludes my superintendent's comments. Mr. Fox, did you want to kind of put a bow on that?
No, I think it's exactly what they said in my summary and working with them the last 2 weeks is we need to have someone from the outside that looks at project management. That we need someone that is an expert in project management to do that. The recommendation is that we do look at that when it comes to communication, training, things like that. So I believe that when we move to the new system, as we stabilize this one, we need to look at taking a different approach. Orange County, other counties that have done this have had a project management. They bring an outside group that focuses on that. And so I 100% think that's what we need to do. We can bring in that outside group to stabilize what we're currently doing, but also talk about what the next step is. Because if we're going to pivot to another student information system, that is something that needs to be done in the near future if we plan on doing that for next year.
Yeah, so what I heard there, and Ronnie, just make sure that is synergy. There's no going back for the remainder of this school year, right?
Correct.
So no going back. So we've got synergy. So we'll put things in place to ensure as much seamless it goes into implementation to ensure synergy is functioning as best it can through the end of this year. But then the process moving forward, would be a process if we decide to move in the direction of another student information system, would be that process will begin very quickly around an RFP, getting proposals for other student information systems to be able to transition possibly in the 25-26 school year.
Correct. Yes, we would encourage you to begin that process now.
Okay. Those are my superintendent's comments.
To decide what to do, board members. You typically do not respond to superintendent comments. You obviously have your board comments. It's entirely up to you, but this is unprecedented, and so you need to decide how you want to proceed.
Comments? I would.
Can you clear the board, please?
Thank you.
Yeah, so stay on upright, yeah.
Member Gray, do you have any questions or comments?
It's a very complex subject and a lot for us to absorb in a very responsible way. My comments will be very generalistic. I agree, this is as an individual board member, that we will handle Synergy the best we can for this year. And the only thing that I want, and this is to the superintendent, I would like, and I mentioned it before, on a suspended agenda or in your highlights, those 3 areas that we need to keep track of, and that would be state reporting, your FTE, transcripts, and special education, ESE. We have over 172 projects for Synergy. I have listed here, actually Dr. Weeks is listed, that we are working on, 172. But to narrow the largest ones would be those 3, and I would like the updates because that impacts our funding, it impacts federal and state law, and we as a board need to be privy. Your remarks?
Those are the ones that we identified as well.
Okay.
Our understanding is that the transcripts may be fixed. It is may be fixed as of this week.
That's good because the guidance counselors are going crazy. And secondly, as a individual board member, I will say, and this has not much to do with you two at the moment, I would say that we have to have leadership in the IT field that not only embraces change, but is a visionary, because what you're suggesting in Plan B will take a lot more than just knowing how to fix computers or talk about computers. It will take, you're changing the culture. So that person, whoever is hired, needs to be looked at in the framework that you all are presenting, along with, obviously, IT knowledge. That person needs to have a very good sense of communication, very highly, involved with the school leadership and all the fiefdoms, all the supervisors, etc. This is a generalistic comment that I'm making, but I truly agree, Plan A, get through this year with those 3 issues to be suspended agenda, and secondly, the gradual leadership approach in sync with what you're sharing. And I appreciate, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you're 100% right that it is about the people, and that's what Rodney tried to point out, is that when you had so much turnover in people throughout a 5-year effort, the chance of success are very small. So you need to reestablish an esprit de corps and a thirst for change, processes need to be improved and modernized along with the system. So an opportunity was missed along the COVID pandemic days to re-engineer processes and make them fit with a new system. So however you move forward, you're absolutely right. It is about the people, it's about getting engagement, it is helping them understand what's in it for them in the new system and the new project and bringing them along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you all so much for your outside analyzation of this process. It is extremely frustrating to all of the employees of our district right now. Their focus has been, and my frustration as a board member, I have a senior. I'm not happy about these transcripts at all. We are jeopardizing the future of our students, and it's not okay. I am a strong advocate for ESC and our teachers and our staff. This cannot happen. And what my biggest frustration is about this system is that we here at the leadership level at the district are not supporting our schools. We're giving them the problem, and they're talking amongst themselves and figuring out the loopholes. And that cannot continue to happen. So when you identified the ESC, and I appreciate you identifying that, but we've got to come up with solutions that they can have right now, and training isn't it. We've got to disperse our manpower within our current IT to be there as support for our staff. If we're going to implement a new system, they should not be taking extra time to be backpedaling. I met with them today, ESC. I went over some of the holes that we're looking at. I'm very concerned about our FTE. I've looked over making sure that our categorical as far as level 3s, level 4s, we're identifying that. It appears we're only not identifying them if it doesn't come in because, yes, they have new codes, but when a school actually looks at it, they don't know how that code matches up to the environment, and so that's an issue. And so I'm very concerned about making sure that we are going to be leveling up on all our necessary funding for our schools, and it's critically important. The attendance has not been corrected. This is not your responsibility. You are analyzing a system that you didn't bring into play. You're analyzing it for the purpose of, do we move forward or do we move backwards? I get that. But what I do need to know is, can we Band-Aid this enough that we alleviate some of the stress? Because we're into schedules, we're making schedules for January. And there's not at this point, we've created a system that we don't trust. So we're adding stress onto an already stressed out staff as they move into new schedules and new changes, or they're adding an IEP that takes them 2 days to put in. So as we move forward, Superintendent, I've got to know how we're going to protect our staff for this decision. I think that's my most important piece, how we can create an environment where we get the information we need, we maintain the information we need, we provide the DOE the information they need, but at the same time protect our staff from unnecessary work and unnecessary staff over a system we've put on them. Does that make sense? And that's what I need. If you guys are going to be the ones providing that expertise, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for us to get the answers, to get how we move forward, because every day these schools are talking to schools to figure out the loophole and how they're doing it, and we as a district aren't providing them the solution. And unfortunately, it's like an abused spouse. Year after year after year, the district throws something at them. They're expected to manage it. We don't provide them the support, and they just accept it as business as usual. And that's not acceptable to me. I'm not going to sit on this board and accept our treatment of our staff like this anymore. So that's where I get upset when I see the staff in schools all over this county having to do extra ongoing it, and we are not providing them the support from downtown. And this situation is a prime example of that.
So, Board Member Rendon, you're exactly right. And that's why we're here, because we heard the stress and the pain that the staff is under. And we listened to them for several days and we documented it. And so you're absolutely right, there are problems. But you asked if we could get through this year and fix the problems the way they are, and then what a new system should look like and how that should support the staff, correct? So using those disciplines we talked about of communication, change management, and improved training, but first we have to repair the system. First, the system needs to work for all of those things that you mentioned. I won't go over them all again, but all the things you mentioned, the system needs to work. And that requires communication. That requires a dialogue between the users and the people configuring the system to make it work, and then training the rest of the district. And we heard that. They're just doing informal training between schools. But it has to be formal training based on functionality and processes that they've helped define and that they understand. In my professional opinion, I do believe that we could get through this year, this school year, and there really is no alternative. So we have to. But you have to do it in a way that is different than how we've been doing it, with better communication, better change management, and project management discipline. So I do believe we can get through it. I think the problems are overcomable for this year. In the long run, you should see technology unburdening teachers and administrators from their work. Technology is there to make life easier. So I happen to be immersed in AI for the last few years. AI can help the psychologists and the sociologists and the special education workers document their cases and actually take work off their plate. We want to see educators spending more time with the students, why they got into the profession. So I agree with you.
The last question I have is, I believe we are still paying Synergy through November of this year, am I correct? And that's for their ongoing support. Does that mean as soon as November ends, we don't have the ability for them to correct a functional system?
I don't have the answer to that.
I know you have the system now so they can use the old system to check transcripts, but I don't know how long. So
No, there's still difficulty within the transcripts. The complications we have, there's just a lot of problems.
So in order to continue utilizing the product, we would have to continue licensing it from EduPoint. So if we remain on the product through, say, the next summer, we would have to ensure that we pay them up through that point.
So with that being said, if we're paying them, are they supporting the changes we need? Because it appears they're not supporting our changes in the system for what we need to make the functionality work.
So they've been contracted to provide specific customizations. They've delivered on some of those. They haven't delivered on others. And that goes back to the conversation I've been having with Mr. Gibson about what can we do to hold them to the letter of the contract.
Okay, so with that being said, then I'm going to ask Superintendent Ayers to work with Jeff Gibson, our attorney, because this stops now. When we can't even provide basic attendance correctly, transcripts for our students, ESE issues, we can't even get a proper FTE count. Therefore, they are jeopardizing the health and safety of the students of Hillsborough County, and we need to take legal action on it.
That is correct. That was the comment I was about to make, so done.
I think we need to take a stand on this, and I don't care if it goes public. I think this is just outrageous and egregious of what they've done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. I know a lot of us are going to, kind of echo the sentiments that Member Rendon has when it comes to the frustration of our employees. I know it's also hard for you guys to stand up here and kind of deliver this news and ask questions. And I'm hoping that we have, with this presentation and your services, much more time to kind of have one-on-ones and ask some in-depth questions. I know that this is important kind of for public consumption because they're also invested in what we talk about and the decisions that we make, but 5 minutes is not enough time for any of us to really get our questions answered. So I'm hoping that even though we're asking some questions now, we'll have more access to you, especially with that presentation, because some of the concepts are a bit vague and I need more specifics around that. Specifically, like when you're kind of talking about this project management and this culture and this way of work, from the way that Member Gray referenced it, it was hiring someone at the district level, but from my understanding of the way that you presented it, it's more like working with consulting companies on this. So is that the kind of expectation when you're talking about what this looks like?
Yes, that would be, given the accelerated time frame And the critical nature for what you're dealing with today, we would recommend looking at outsourced resources to aid in the completion of the implementation and optimizing, closing the functional gaps and then optimizing the solution.
And so I appreciate that clarification, but much to Member Rendon's question, from my understanding, the issues with optimization and being able to get these functionalities to work resides in EduPoint and the company who has the software. So I don't understand how in our plan, if they're the ones who are responsible for this and we can't seem to make any progress with them, and we're talking about legal action, how we then are able to, when you talk about get through this year and you've identified these issues that we fix at the same time of looking at additional options, how we do that when those problems, from our understanding, minus the training piece, doesn't seem to be in an area we control. That's where the disconnect comes in for me.
So I want to add that we do feel like you need some external expert support to put these processes and these practices in place, but there needs to be knowledge transfer to people at the district so that they carry on. So I actually think it's a combination of bringing in people that will capture this knowledge or appointing them from within the district, as well as educating and teaching and doing. So we would support the vendor management and holding the vendors' feet to the fire to deliver on these, aside from whatever other actions are taken outside of our domain. But it's about working with, from my perspective, working with the vendor, being very, very clear about what is needed and when, and managing that very closely, and escalating as needed. So I do feel that we could get them to at least those critical things: FTE, transcript, compliance. They have to get through those. So that large list of projects that there's probably some that are showstoppers, that are compliance, legal, funding related, and others that are kind of nice to have. Move this field over here, change this to that. So we would have to prioritize the work with the vendor on the most highest priority things and get those done. And then, as we talked about, keeping the system on life support until we get on to another system, because we really want to put the critical knowledge from the district and the resources on the new system.
So if I'm understanding that answer correctly, your direct recommendation would be immediately bringing in outside consultants to help manage this project immediately, to look and identify the most crucial deliverables, work with the vendor and get those taken care of, while we look at another piece and make decisions on that quickly to act and put in place of next year. That's your recommendation.
It is, and there's a layer that, because we wanted to keep this sort of high level and simple, that we didn't mention, and that's governance. And that's setting priorities. So overall, the district should have technology governance where things are prioritized, managed, and observed at the highest levels throughout the life of a project so that it doesn't get to this point. And that's one of those way of work, as you said, that would be a cultural change, that technology projects are not IT projects. They're for the district. As you see, they're impacting the staff. They're impacting potentially even the students. So any technology project has to be owned by the district and governed in that way.
And so if we were to act on that advice and move quickly, what type of a timeline are you looking at for resolution on the three most critical areas that you've identified to get those working efficiently and start to train people?
So the transcript issue is already fixed. We had conversations with the vendor about that. And I don't have a direct answer that it would be this week or this month, but I would tell you that those would be the highest priority items, and they have to get fixed. So the FTE is due in October. They have to make those deadlines. They're already doing the pre-checking on the FTEs, and that is moving forward, but it has to be finished on time. And then we have to prioritize the other issues. So I don't have a specific date. We didn't get into that level of detail.
If we were to vet different consultant companies, is that an expectation that would be part of their presentation as we move forward, a realistic timeline of when these would be fixed?
Yes, but I think it's going to take a company to actually look at it and tell you that timeline. I mean, if they're telling you from a distance, it's going to be hard to do. But the number one priority is to make sure we get in here and get them working on it right now.
And I would say part of project management is having a schedule with hard deadlines and holding everybody accountable for those deadlines. And so, yes, a good project team with all these disciplines that we just brought in, and I don't want to diss the team that was on it. They were under-resourced. They did what they could, but it's just been overwhelming. And so you need this whole community and this whole culture of project management with deadlines, with schedules, and with teeth in it to stick to it.
Okay. I appreciate those answers. My next and last question is for you, Superintendent Ayers. I know we've talked about authorizing T-Pay to pay the people, especially our ESE staff who are working tremendous amount of hours to manage this. Has that been approved, and are we doing that?
Yeah, that's already been approved and that's already happening.
Okay, because I'm getting some feedback that it's not. Who is that specifically approved for? How are they getting communicated that, and how are they accessing that?
So overtime was approved almost 2 weeks ago for non-exempt employees. I believe this morning the units allocation team completed the T-Pay assignments for each school site. So if there's a question on how to put an employee into the specific T-Pay position, they could reach out to my secretary, Amy Finch, as she's gone through this a number of times, and that's how we've been working through it right now.
Okay, and I'm not going to ask for it now, but can you send a description of what non-exempt employees are and who that covers and what that looks like, so we have clarity on that? Because I want to make sure all our employees who are working on this, due to this, get some kind of sort of compensation. And those are the questions I have for right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
I'm not going to ask. Thank you, Member Rendon and Member Vaughn. They had a lot of the same questions that I had. A couple things. I think the paraprofessionals are exempt. Is that correct from the payroll? I think so. So I think that's something that we really need to look at, because I know visiting a couple schools that they are exempt, and that's something that I think we need to look at.
And that was the purpose of the T-Pay assignments, so that we can actually pay additional dollars to any of the exempt positions.
Okay, so I know that's a fact, so I'd like to look at that. And my other comment is, looking at a different system, do you think, seeing other districts, sometimes it's a combination. There's a couple systems in place, and they're not necessarily using one program. Is that correct? Or what does that look like?
So for student information systems, it's usually one system. So the systems of today are very integrated, and they even cross over to the LMS function. So you'll find, I don't want to name names, but there are systems that are very robust, and so you would just be one system. I know that in the past the district had a homegrown system with lots of other systems attached to it. I don't think that they, as Rodney said, the technology has moved forward. I don't think they would have to have bolt-ons, as we would say.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And then my other question, do you think for this year, probably one of the biggest challenges that is just the length of time that it's taking for the ESE documentation? And I'm getting, texts all the time that if you look at the number of hours it's going to take a large high school to complete that, even if they worked around the clock, they still would not be able to meet that deadline for FTE. Is there a plan, or do you think we can implement a plan to basically speed that process?
So it makes me realize we definitely don't want to go back, because that work for ESE would be really unbearable. I don't have enough detail now to say that we can get it down to this amount of time or that amount of time. What I can say is that you have the right communication and business analysis, we may be able to optimize those processes and reduce them. Part of it would be listening to the vendor that we have now, the Synergy, and say, well, how do other districts do this, and how do they streamline it? Because it has to be in a way that's optimized. And so it could be that Hillsborough did it a certain way that didn't work well with the system, and so they did lots of workarounds, and that's what complicated it. I don't know, because we didn't get down to that level of detail. That would have to be prioritized for the next team that comes in.
Okay, thank you. And just one other comment. The other comment I want to make sure is, the fund balance and T-payroll, this is what it's for emergencies like this. And I know our counselors have not been really included in that as well. Am I correct, Dr. Weeks? Have the counselors been compensated for all the additional time with T-payroll?
So I can't answer that specifically. I can find out. But the T-pay positions are available for any exempt position that occurs at a school site, it's up to the principal to say who's going to do the work.
Okay, but I think it's very important that we get a response on that. So my question is, I'd like to know about the paraprofessionals, and I also want follow-up on the counselors, because I know that they're working, immense hours, especially some of these large high schools where, I think of Alonzo High School where there's 3,000 students there, and we have a shortage of counselors anyways, and all the issues that they're dealing with mental health and transcripts, and we don't have, a lot of schools, we don't have career and college counselors, so they're doing so much additional work. I want to make sure those counselors and the paraprofessionals are compensated as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Sorry, I just have two more questions. I think I'd like to expand on Member Combs and just ask that we are provided a list of everyone who's going to be getting TPA. I think that's the better way to go, so we don't eliminate anyone. We have a knowledge of who that goes to. I think that would be more broad. The last question I have is, and transcripts are one of the things I can use. We've been told 3 times transcripts are fixed, and it's never leadership in this district that determines that they're not fixed. It's the schools. So as we move forward, I'm expecting our people to know before our schools know when something is told it's fixed and not fixed. Am I correct on that? Because that's where I'm having a problem with. Well, here Synergy's fixed it, but we aren't validating it before we're informing the schools.
Yeah.
They're finding our problems.
That is happening. That's absolutely correct.
Well, I think I'm going to request that we have a process eternally that validates what Synergy says before we send it out to schools and add their frustration.
Understand. Yep.
Because I think transcripts are bond number 4.
We agree.
Thank you.
That's why we answered very tentatively that we've heard that it's fixed, but I agree the staff in the schools have to validate that, and that should be the process.
Not the staff. Our staff need to validate it before it goes out to our schools.
Got it.
We have to protect our staff at our schools. They are overworked because of this system. So we have an obligation at this level, at our district level, to make sure we have validated what we hear from Synergy before it goes out to the schools, because they're constantly fixing and telling us we've got more problems, and it's frustrating.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm going to thank you all for enlightening us because there's a lot of information that we did not know, and we appreciate that. I kind of find it hard to believe that we would have a program like this and it would not be teacher friendly and administrative friendly, because we are talking about FTE, we are talking about money coming into Hillsborough County, we are talking about ESC students that really need the help. And we got to come up with a solution, and it can't be like next year. We don't have to come up with a solution this year, because we got to get the job done. I mean, it's the time to play around and say, well, we got time. We don't have time, because when FTE time come around, we need to be ready for FTE. We need to have whoever we need in here. And I thank you all for what you have done so far tonight, because you have enlightened us a great deal about some of the things that we need to do. And one of the things I admire about you guys, you said we got to think out the box on this one. We can't be in the box. You got to be out the box on this deal. So I appreciate that, and maybe we can get some help as soon as possible, Superintendent. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Washington. I'm just curious. I haven't heard anything mentioned about the charter schools and how you're working on their FTE with them.
So the session we were supposed to meet with the charter schools got rained out by the hurricane, so we had to leave a little bit early, and we can meet with them another time, but we don't have a lot of information about the charter schools. In the districts that I was at, the charter schools were serviced differently than the main schools, and I don't know what the situation is here. Like I said, we had to escape the hurricane, so I'm sorry for that.
Okay. Can you follow up with
We'll follow up with Mr. Lang. Mr. Murillo, if you could follow up. I know that I've had hearing some of the same issues from our charter schools with Synergy. So the issues we hear from our school sides are the same we're hearing from charter. So they're both, hearing it from both sides. Yeah, all the same.
Yeah, because they get funding from us.
Yep.
and they need their counts as well. So, correct. All right. Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes.
Can we get the queue back up? Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Member Gray was first in the queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Probably the most significant pause is, I'm going to read it right from my comments. The main comment I have consists of prayers and goodwill to all those who experience complete and partial devastation to their homes, their loved ones' homes, and some of our public schools. I want to thank Mayor Jane for leading the City of Tampa to safe practices before, during, and after Hurricane Helene. I thank the first responders who not only were actual feet on the ground, but helped some of our evacuation centers, such as at Middleton High School, where the City of Tampa, Regina Castilla, spent days along with our Middleton staff, AP Henry Scurry, David Williams, Bristol White. I want to thank our operations team, led by Chris Farkas and Ben Moore, who were and are virtually everywhere repairing the damages. Last, but probably not least, our principals, who engaged in normalizing learning conditions despite the trials of their own staff and students. Now, many of them are now homeless, and some of them, of course, many of them are without homes. Superintendent Van Ayers, you must be extremely proud and thankful for leading your school site team, along with close collaboration with Chief Newman, the City of Tampa, Hillsborough County Sheriff Office, the City of Tampa Police, and the many other city and state agencies. And I pause and recognize that we had over 19 volunteer custodians who showed up on a Saturday to help Dickerson Elementary School empty the water and dehumidify the school, which experienced a little bit more than a foot of water. And I want to thank Ben Moore again and our operations team for addressing Principal Marissa Brody's list of concerns. And we have a short video, and Member Combs will also share. Can I see the video at this time? Thank you. And this will just show you some of the efforts that were going on. There's the custodians. And they had to put all the books, everything had to be put on the desks. Floors were covered with water. And the carpet completely saturated. And Member Combs checked on some of the books. They weren't in too bad a condition. But you can see the rugs, everything that had water on them had to be put outside. Okay, thank you for the video, and you can turn that off. Again, we have such a wonderful crew, and I just have my hats off, our hats off, to these custodians who volunteered to help that school in a nanosecond. They were there. I also wanted to recognize and quite saddened by the loss of Margarita Gonzalez, who actually initiated the Hispanic Heritage Celebration. And Margarita, just to read a little bit from, we had a big City of Tampa recognize the Hispanic heritage today. I missed it, but at any rate, Melissa Magado was there. So what they did is they dedicated to this wonderful woman, Margarita Gonzalez, who for 30 years had given her life endeavors to not only community service, but to education. And all the while, and I know some of us went to the Hispanic Heritage dinners, but she spent just relentless time on getting the monies for scholarships for many of our Hispanic students. So this is again recognition and a little bit of sadness for her passing away, but I did want to mention that. I also, well, I only have 10 seconds. All right, that's going to be all my comments today. Thank you all, principals. Happy principal. Oh my goodness, you work so hard, but we appreciate all your work. And this is it's next month, right? So, oh, it's October 1st. Oh, it's this month. Thanks all principals, to say the least. Bye.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. There's a couple things I want to highlight. First of all, many of us attended the NAACP Freedom Fund dinner over the weekend. It was spectacular. It's one of my favorite events. It always leaves me feel really inspired to talk about the value of education and our community coming together. So I just wanted to thank the NAACP for including us in that. Also, I do have a slide. I wanted to highlight the PTA at Lutz K-8. Are you able to show the slide and the pictures? It's coming. The PTA was able to raise over $20,000. It took them 2 years, and they built this beautiful walking track at Lutz K-8. Immediately, the kids were so excited to go out there and run, and they invited me to the ribbon cutting. I think we have a couple more pictures. If you want to, this was the track. It's really beautiful. There's the ribbon cutting. The kids were so excited. And then just some pictures of me with the principal and the PTSA. I just want to say thank you to them and just to all of our PTSAs. You know, parental involvement and collaboration in our schools is the biggest indicator of student success. So thank you so much, and I just want to highlight what that looks like. Also, to get on people's radar, the Lutz community is actually really rallying right now against some zoning that's going on, where they want to change the zoning right by their school and put I think like an Arby's or some kind of fast food that would really cause a problem with getting in and safety to students. So I just want to get that on everybody's radar, that that's a problem. And if you care about Lutz, there's a big parental group that's getting involved to ask County Commission to reassess that rezoning. Also, I just want to ask you, Superintendent Ayers, next time if we can get an update on what the final costs for the lawsuits from County Commission to get the millage on the referendum were, just so we can be transparent with that with the community. I know we had talked about making sure that we share that, and I think it's important to know how much that cost us to get our millage on the ballot. And then lastly, I just want to also kind of echo Member Gray, and I'm sure what many of us will have is just our sentiments around, you know, the hurricane that happened. Just so much gratitude to our employees who work so hard to make sure that our shelters are safe havens from people who are escaping this. You know, talking about our custodians, since it's, you know, Custodian Appreciation Week, how much cleanup there is. And, you know, I don't think people really understand that a lot of our decisions isn't necessarily just around keeping our schools open, but it's making sure that we have shelters to offer people, even from outside our county, and offer safety and refuge to people. And how much I appreciate the hard work that goes into that, and from our first responders and from all the people who just really jump in during a storm. You know, it's a thankless job, and I don't think people realize how much goes into it. And kind of on that note, like, I just really want to say thank you to you, Superintendent Ayers. I know how hard you worked that entire weekend. You gave us seamless updates before I even really needed to ask for communication and decisions. You gave them to us. You were at every, you know, press release right there, sharing information. I know that you barely slept. You were on the front grounds. You were making decisions. And I've gone through a few different hurricanes now, and I really appreciate your leadership on that. You know, when you're a leader, no matter what you do, no matter what decision you make, people are going to be critical of that. And it's really, really, really hard. But I know that at the end of the day, every decision that you make is because you deeply care about this district. You deeply care about our employees, our students and our families. So I just want to say thank you for that, because, you know, leadership really matters at a time like that. And just, you know, thank you to our community. You know, it's hard again when we make these decisions, and I know it's hard when we close schools for working families. And, you know, there are always people who are anxious and they're going to be negative to the decisions that we make. But, you know, I just really appreciate when the community gives us grace and comes together. You know, this was really hard on our own community, but we got lucky. We didn't have a direct hit. And with the kind of devastation that we see now, I think we realize what it could look like in the future. You know, and I just hope that, again, every time we have something like this, our community comes together. I've seen so many people pitching in and going to people's houses and help cleaning them out. And, you know, we're not just stronger together as a school district. We're stronger together as Tampa, as Hillsborough, as Florida, you know, and it makes me feel better when we come together instead of, you know, complain and pit against each other over things. So thank you for your leadership in this. Thank you for everyone at the district. You know, again, I don't think people understand how much hard work goes in behind the scenes. And I just want to send out my love and prayers to everyone affected by this, and my gratitude for how far we've come. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I want to agree with my fellow board members. Anytime we have a storm or natural disaster, it really highlights the entire community, and our school stepped up. I'm very thankful for the leadership and Superintendent Ayers and all of our school staff. They opened up for our shelters, our custodial staff, our kitchen staff. Every single person within a school have stepped up to really support that. I look forward to the next cycle that we can become more partners with the community and the decisions that are made. I think the public doesn't understand that we are dictated by the county on when we open shelters, when we close shelters, which schools are shelters, which ones are not. And I look forward to building that relationship so we can be more of a partner instead of being the result of a decision that we're not a part of. I think that's important, and I think that's important for the public to know that we many times are not in control of where we go and how we do it. I also want to make a note on item 710 that was on our consent agenda. That is an item that we have a construction project that was already completed, that was voted on several years ago, but this is the final acceptance amount of money that we spent on that item. I think it's important to recognize the reason it did not go to discussion is because it was something that was approved a while ago. I want to make a note to that, and as we have comments, and we've, you know, Superintendent Ayers, you made comments to some issues that we have brought to our attention within the district. I believe it's this board's responsibility to make sure that the policies of this district reflect how we want to move forward with how we look at our senior leadership in the district. And so I'm going to propose that I'm going to be working with our attorney, Mr. Porter, on looking at policies as we move forward with our senior leadership. I think that's important to note. I have sought legal counsel both inside and outside the district on this error, and I believe it comes back to the fact that the board makes the decisions of this district, and so it's based upon the board's responsibility to make sure whatever we decide moves forward, and we have a responsibility to make sure our policies reflect how we want our senior leadership to behave from now and in the future. And so that is something we need to change as we move forward to make sure our policies and our contracts for our senior leadership reflect how, when, what the behavior we expect moving forward from senior leadership. And so I'm going to make sure that I work with Mr. Porter on working on those policies. I think that's important for the public to know that it is the board's decisions on these items and how we handle it. And so I think it's important to know that we move forward on changing that policy to make sure that it's reflective on what we expect as a district and our staff. I am excited to say that on October the 7th, I will be at Armwood High School continuing to encourage parents to attend these parent forums. I'm encouraging them to come to them, working and partnering with Impact Tampa Bay, and trying to get parents to be out there discussing how they can talk with their kids about risky behaviors, about how they can incorporate and be helping those children move forward in the culture and the climate of today. I think it's important that we as a district partner with parents and understand that it's very difficult to be a parent today. And if we can provide them any strategies so that they can partner with our schools, it's critical and important. So I hope that I see many parents there. I want to thank you for the Synergy update and the way we move forward with Synergy. I know that it's a frustration of this board, it's a frustration of our staff, but we as a board are going to continue to advocate and support our staff and support our students. And I think that where we are moving forward, and I appreciate bringing that outside consultant in, is very important because it takes the technology piece out of it, and that's very important. But I do want to finish in saying that, I feel responsible for decisions and the behavior of our staff, because as a board member, we have the responsibility to make sure we do our homework on our items that we approve or however we vote on it. It is our responsibility as a board, and we own that responsibility. So moving forward, we need to make sure our policies reflect our expectations of our staff in the district. And so I think that's important. But again, I want to make sure that our prayers and our thoughts are with all the families affected by the flooding, the storm, the damage of this year. There is nothing more tragic than the loss of your comfort, the loss of your shelter, potentially your job, all of your needs, all of your things. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of the families affected. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Random. Member Combs?
Thank you. Very similar. I mean, the devastation that happened with the hurricane. I mean, I have several friends, just seeing what's occurred without even a direct hit has been like devastating. So I really wanted to thank the Hillsborough County local government and the Hillsborough County Public Schools. Going out just to Sickles High School, the administration was so amazing. The school resource officers that were there, Steve Lunan, head of nutrition, who stayed there so long. And I have to say, probably one of the hardest things was seeing, like, after the storm, how many people were still there who were homeless. It was really heartbreaking to see how people were staying there just to have an extra meal. And sometimes I think we forget, we're living in America, and there's so many people that were just really devastated. And I also want to thank, Gary Brady. He is I know he's going to get mad at me for even saying that, because he is one of the most selfless people I know and such a great leader. And it doesn't matter. He's always first there, last to go out. And when I took a picture of him, he's like, don't even post that picture. So I know he's going to be, but that's the kind of leadership that we have in this district. We have so many people who are such great leaders, and I want to thank each and every one of them. And I had just one slide that I wanted to share. Also, Mrs. Brody and Ms. Rodriguez, Member Gray and I were able to go out there Saturday and Monday, and all the custodians who volunteered, it was just amazing. And Congresswoman Kathy Castor, I saw her at an event, and she was there on Monday. And so she, what we don't realize is those apartments right by Dickinson and all those apartments in Town and Country, as I drove by, what I thought about were like all those cars where people now don't have a way to get to work, right? And so many of those apartments, people don't have flood insurance. So I think it's really, really important to remember that there's so many people who are struggling right now. The next slide, on Thursday, which is our big Hispanic Heritage event, we are actually, and you can show the next slide, we are actually going to be providing hurricane support relief. Congresswoman Kathy Castor is going to have, individuals out there. We're going to have information to help with FEMA, also mental health. So it's going to be a celebration, but it's also going to be a great resource for our community. Our Town and Country community was so impacted. And as I said, when I drove around, after I left Dickinson, I felt sad. But as I drove past those apartments and I looked at what was happening, it really was just heartbreaking. So we really need to make sure that, I think at Dickinson they had 30% absences on Monday. There are so many families that have been impacted who have generational poverty, and now that's going to even put them back even more. So I think, to really make sure that we continue providing the resources and the support for all those areas. And I just want to thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I mean, you work so hard to communicate, to work with us. And you're doing such a great job, and you're very beloved by this district, and you're very beloved by everyone, and we want to thank you for your leadership and working hard. Now we have teachers who are struggling even more. I'm proud that starting tomorrow, I'll be working on with the PTA and talking more about the millage. I'll be doing something at 12 and 8 o'clock, because this is a time when we are funded 50th in the nation, and our teachers are going to food banks, that we need to remember that education is at the core of our society. People can take away your home and your car, and we saw that this week. But one thing that they can't take away is your education. And when we have 400 vacancies in some of our most low-income areas, we have to come as a community and put our community first, and put our teachers, our bus drivers, our school resource officers who are here, all of us, those individuals are so underpaid. So thank you for your leadership. And because of that, it's hard. And we are all going to be under attack, but we need to make sure that we always put education first. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Washington?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me say a couple of things. I thank you, Superintendent, because he kept us informed all the time. And I want to thank you for doing a great job, because it's hard as hell when you got a hurricane out there and you're trying to coordinate everything. It's very difficult, and the staff did a great job. Now, people don't understand it's hard to run a shelter, because you're dealing with people you don't know. And you can't just go in there and tell them what to do. It's very difficult. You have to walk on pins and needles when you're running a shelter. And something else I want to say, too, and I want to thank the Sheriff Department, yes, TPD, and where John and Mr. John Gone and their division for doing an excellent job. It's really difficult. It's really hard to run a shelter. And the custodians, man, the work that they have to do to keep those rooms up every day, because you got people living in there, homeless people. You got animals in there. Anything you can name, everything you can name, you got in those shelters. So it's a difficult job, and as well as the lunchroom personnel, all the hard work that they did to keep the people fed. We're blessed, and we are blessed in Hillsborough County. We are blessed. And I just want to say, like my father used to say, by a blink of an eye, everything could be gone. And we seen some of that happen. I have some friends. Just blink of an eye, everything destroyed. Everything you work for in life is gone. And that happens. But we got to keep doing it. As I always say, it's a rainy day, but God got an umbrella for us. We got to keep moving on. Moving on now, and thank you again, because we had the chat and chew at Allen Temple A&M Church. Yeah, and John Newman was there with security. We had Superintendent Van, we had Lieutenant Sutton, and we have Chief of Schools Rick Graves. And we did a great job explaining to them about all the things that needed to be done for this millage, as well as security in Hillsborough County, because a lot of parents are worried about security. And John explained it, I think, very well. So we had about 50 people there, and I think all the pastors were satisfied. And they said, you on go. That sounds good. We on go. Okay? Now, also, this weekend on the 28th, we had the NAACP Annual Freedom Fund, and Member Vaughn was there, Member Combs, Member Gray, Member Rendon, and the theme was all together. That was a beautiful theme, all together. And the keynote speaker was Dr. Daniel Black. the author of African American Studies at Clark Atlanta University. And you have to, he really did a great job, didn't he? He did a great job, man. Yes, he did. He did a wonderful job. And I want to also say congratulations to all of the award recipients for the NAACP. And that's all I have, and we'll continue to work hard in Hillsborough County because we got a long ways to go, but we're moving really good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Member Washington. So, as a lot of you know, I not only work with the two most vulnerable populations, with the geriatrics and with our students. So Friday really threw a wrench in both worlds for me. I had from Hillsborough County all the way to Homosassa, Silver Springs, Beverly Hills, so about 2 hours between. And I had a lot of folks who were literally underwater. So, Superintendent Ayers, the fact that you opened shelters, we were able to get folks from 2 hours away all the way over here. And really, really do a lot of, resetting with their lives. They're still resetting. We were able to get them into hotels, really, work some magic in their worlds. But Hillsborough County Schools really came to the rescue for them. But like it's been mentioned from my fellow board members, a lot of our teachers are trying to reset as well. I spoke with and continue to have some conversations in the last few days because federal government employees are able to give their time, and we have something called emergency disaster time that we are able to give other employees in case something like this happens. But I notice in government we can't do that. So I'm looking at the possibility of working with some congressional personnel to see if we could maybe legislate that going forward. Because we're here in Florida and we have disasters every year. And the fact that nobody has thought that through really would be a game changer, especially with what happened to us this weekend. So I'd like to humbly express again that even through the storm or hurricane, even though it's past, we still have families and employees that are dealing with the aftermath that includes a level of devastation that is life-altering. Please, let's continue to collectively support and keep our arms around them during this difficult time. I want to thank Tracy Brown and her team for providing a list. This was on Saturday, a list of resources, along with Senator Collins, who provided hot meals through Operation Barbecue Relief. Superintendent, thank you for the video message you provided this district along with the resources for our families. So on another note, as chair of this board, I also feel it is appropriate that I carefully and respectfully ask at this time as a district that we not allow any claims that may be on social media or in the community to become a distraction or hinder us from focusing on our number one and top priority, which is the academic success, safety, and well-being of our students and staff. Let me be clear. My statement does not imply that wrongdoing has or has not occurred. Neither am I expressing that I am not reasonably and appropriately addressing concerns and matters that may impact our students or this district. My statement is solely a sincere attempt to convey the importance of maintaining our focus on students and being the best district that we can be, in spite of any challenges we may face. We must allow process to properly address claims and to play out fairly and accordingly. And the superintendent and I did speak about my statement, and he was fine with my statement. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.